Hello everyone, Steve here again with some more very exciting rules of chaos. Something I'm well informed about, I guess you could say, for all these armies really, except maybe Chaos Knights. So we got a lot talked about. It's very exciting. So we're gonna start with CSM and then go down the line of armies. I guess you could say in preference and such. Get some little perspective, see the interesting changes in the what it can mean for the army. So let us begin with CSM. And there is some disheartening detachments here, to say the least. So we're talking about 3DPs. These are all very expected. Bile, maybe not a very low percent, but I expected all these. So we got Bile, we got Hurons, we got Hackman Zealots, and Renegade Raiders. Those are 3DPs. Everything else is 2. And what they did, in addition to making 3DP, they kind of gave them mostly bad depositions. Bile is a pretty decent one, but Renegade Raiders is our only recon, and that's also something. If you look at these depositions, we're very restricted into 3 depositions. There is a single recon and 2 taken holds total in 18 detachments. We are essentially disruption locked, priority assets, and we have a very okay amount of purge. Not a lot of purge, but okay. So this is a very restricted army, and it very felt like this is a balancing maneuver, not just what they felt like for flavor. But Renegade Raiders has recon. I don't think CSM is even an army that can do recon. Your cheapest unit that can do an action in reality is like a bike squad. Otherwise, you don't have any fast MSU style unit to do actions. Recon does require a crap ton of actions. This is not a style for the style of army. Like, we don't have cheaper old Raptors and such to do it anymore. So like our cheapest action doer otherwise bikes would be like 110 point Raptors. Not really good. So I think that I don't know, strangleholds Renegade Raiders a bit. Backbone Zealots as priority assets. You can priority assets is not as bad as recon because it is more of a generic style of Warhammer. But Backbone Zealots doesn't like playing generic Warhammer. Backbone Zealots is a very, very, very one note detachment. It does damage, and that's all it does. It is not fast. It is not versatile. It's nothing else. It's not a very like good detachment except at the one roll of killing the crap out of something. It is very good at that, but as a detachment itself, it's not that good. So prior assets, not the best for Pact and Assaults. And finally, my saddest part, Huron's Marauders, is Disruption. Unironically, my least favorite deposition. I just hate Disruption as a deposition. Disruption is, in general, static, generic Warhammer. It's like most of your things have a mixture of hold a point, kill something, and do an action. They all have they're not all exactly like that, but in general, you can expect most of them to be something like that. But the issue is they aren't scored very well. I'm going to get into a deposition video maybe on Friday for Drukhari and explain maybe my issues with Disruption. But Hurons doesn't play Disruption very well when you play a generic Huron style. This is, like I said, because you need units to do actions, you need units to kill things, you need units to hold points. You don't really, as I talked about in Renegade Raiders, don't really have action doers in CSM very well. Not in mass amount. You have a couple you can do to do a couple actions you need for secondaries, but not every turn you need to be doing one. It's not really good for that. Disruption is just really not fit for an army that's trying to take like 5 big bricks at people and throw it at them. Huron also received a second indirect change, which is the double strat change. This is due to Hurons using 2 strats on units that aren't chosen because you want to auto advance 6 and advance and charge units like Possessed and Terminators. You're not allowed to do that anymore due to that change. So Huron got a double, ball slap here, which is kind of sad. Makes me really depressed, as you get when it comes to Warhammer at least. And then other than that, let's look at the interesting depositions. Veterans Long War is taken hold, Felhammer is taken hold. Those are both the taken hold style, and those are both quite decent attachments in 11th edition. And those are 2 DP. That's very good. Things we have access to Purge. We have Bile, which is good for Purge. We have Soulforge Warpack, which is good. And then Murdertown Raiders. Both of those fit the playstyle that they want to do. And I can see Soulforge Warpack replacing the Defiler style and then taking potentially one of these 2 other attachments to go with it. Maybe especially Murdertown Raiders. I got to test more into that. Because Soulforge Warpack is also a similar detachment like Pack Results, where it just is only good for killing, but we can play Purge, that's fine. You just gotta hold objective, you gotta kill people. That's good. I'm not really, there's not really to talk about with disruption. Disruption is just very generic 40k, and same thing with priority assets. For our 1 DPs, things that we can support these attachments, which are very interesting, is Murtown Raiders. That gives us purge to any of these 2 DPs we want, and it's also a quite decent attachment. And then DVT's instructions, Qual Chaos don't give us any forced deposition we really need, but they are fine attachments. So there's a big CSM guy here, so I want to talk about the deposition before we start. There you go. There's the perspective of how it's gonna, see to us with the the upcoming styles. All right, let's get into it. Starting with Cabal of Chaos. This is a remake of a Grotmas attachment, in my opinion, though the rules may be slightly weaker on the surface. Better overall, as someone who's kind of trying to, think about this attachment right now in like a real sense. So attachability, Psyker units in the shooting phase have +1 strength. Woody Dark Pact. And then otherwise, in the 5 phase, Demon Prince units get +2 strength and +1 AP. Both of these are pretty decent buffs. I think Terminators are decent now with good leaders. I think this combines very well with Warp Strike Cabal. That means if you play Warp Strike Cabal, you can have a Terminator Sorcerer lead them. He also gets a really good enhancement that gives him +1 attack, strength, AP, and damage to both his guns and his melee weapon. They become Strength 5 bolters. He himself points enemy and gives you +1 AP, so Strength 5, AP 1. They themselves have reroll hits, and they either have sus or lethal. That's a very good, nice hybrid unit. Very good for a 1 DP thing. And that's not just all this has. This attachment actually has really good strats. And then also the Demon Prince combined with this enhancement I'm going to talk about real quick. Conduit of Chaos. This Demon Prince model, Demon model only. And the melee attacks have Lance. So when you combine it with the Demon Prince, he goes to Strength 10, AP 3, damage 3. And then he has Lance. And then the Chaos Demon Prince, if you guys don't know, the winged one at least, has this, the same ability as the EC one, where he does mortal wounds on the charge. He rolls equal to his remaining wounds, and he does that to immortals. So you can do a very nice, hard-hitting Demon Prince if you want. This also combines directly with Warp Strike Cabal. I think it's called Warp Strike Cabal. Warp Strike something. The Terminator attachment, they came out a couple months ago. That has a 1 CP +2 to charge strat. So you can combine this and make a very interesting Demon Prince coming from Deep Strike and charging people. That strat works only on Deep Strikers, but it's not only Terminators. So it could work on potentially the Demon Prince or Raptors, I'll get to later, or the Terminators. Very nice, cool, holistic thing, big circle of combinations. So potentially Demon Prince is playably decent in this detachment combined with Warp Strike. Other than that, you had Torched by the Warp. Eric starting mode is only. He becomes a Psyker, and his weapons become Psychic. In most instances, this is really if you want to probably play Terminators, but you don't want the Sorcerer, you want the Lord. I don't really know why you'd want that. The Lord is kind of bad. He doesn't have a secondary ability. He just himself has -1 damage or half damage. But he doesn't give you like real advanced charges or anything, which the Sorcerer does, which is a even better than ability than it was in 10th edition. Because potentially, if you want to use your +2 charge strat, you can't reroll at charge because you can't use two strats at the same time. His baseline rerolls help you there. Same thing with Heroic. If you want Heroic, you can't CP roll Heroic. So I do like this attachment. And also niche things. It says any Psyker. There's some cool things like Nemesis Collar Psyker if you have them with any amount of guns. And Master of Maelstrom is a Psyker. That's very important. You can give all your chosen guns +1 strength and their guns +1 strength. Same thing with her, and gets this Flamer strength 7. It's kind of fun. And then some strats you can use too. The strats, we got Inferno Vigor. Command phase, pick a Psyker or Demon unit, heal D3 +1 wounds. Remember, healing lets you res models now. So this directly combos with Masters of Maelstrom or Terminators. Because Masters of Maelstrom get a heal a full model every turn, and then you can bet you heal D3 +1 wounds too. You can get like 2 full chosen back every turn with this strat. That's really good. Or just, res almost a full Terminator every turn. Keep them nice and tanky, nice and strong. Second one, Fleshy Curse. This is like a super grenade for all intents and purposes. Start shooting phase, pick a Psyker unit, pick 1 enemy unit within 12, and roll D6. You don't have to be outside of combat to do this. On a 1, you do 1 mortal wound. On a 2 to 4, you do D3. On a 5 to 6, you do 2D3 mortals. It's not like a struggle better grenade, but it's a longer range. You can use it in combat. You can advance it, shoot it, and all that jazz. It's a more flexible grenade, and you can combine it with grenades if you have a second unit. Pretty nice. And finally, Wreathed in Warp Flame. Shooting phase, pick a Psyker Heretic Startings unit, and you have Ignore's cover. This is very good outside of Warp Strike. Warp Strike gives you 1 CP, 2 units get Ignore's cover, but Ignore's cover is much more important now in most instances, especially if you're low AP. So, especially those Terminators, they can just be hitting on 3s rolling, don't have to worry about cover or anything. You just pew 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 people to death. Remember, you can obviously Kravik is not a psyker, but potentially if you have Kravik and then you have a second Terminator squad, the second Terminator squad, their Lord, Sorcerer Lord, can point at Kravik's unit, make his unit he's targeting +1 AP. Kravik's unit will also get +1 AP, so make Kravik a bunch of AP2 weapons and shoot incredibly hard. So I quite like Cabal. The biggest issue, if that is one, is its disruption. So it's not really giving you anything in a deposition aspect. Next is the Devotees of Destruction. This is the Havoc Obliterate attachment. I know there's a lot of fanboys of those units too, and I even put the Havoc on one of my most improved units list. So pretty exciting for them. And this is priority assets, if I remember. Yes. All right, Havoc's Obliterators have heavy. This is fine. It's not good. Obliterators, it won't work on them most of the time because they're going to deep strike in. But other than that, if they're just on the board, then sure. Then you can move 3 inches and still get +1 to hit. They only move 4 anyways. It's not the biggest downside. Obliterators get a lot worse because their indirect is substantially worse. You can't deep strike in indirect. You can't move in indirect unless you want to hit on 6s. You can't be in combat indirect unless you want to hit on 6s, which doesn't matter for them in most instances. And you need someone to be able to see that target you're trying to direct, and you can't otherwise you hit on 6s. Potentially you can't reroll hits. That one I'm not 100% sure on, but a lot of times the Obliterator ability is a lot worse. So I hope they get a points reduction and just become essentially a mostly direct LOS piece. A Havoc's is somewhat interesting because you can set up like hidden aspects and shoot people. You're hitting on 2s. They ignore all mods to hit and Blissa skill. So it can be kind of efficient there. Havoc's biggest issue is their price, even though I think they are improved, but being like 130 points for 5 Space Marines that every time you take 2 damage, you lose a whole gun is really bad. And as someone hate vehicles, it's a direct comparison to a Predator, which has more wounds, has double the toughness, doesn't lose a gun every time you take 2 damage. And that's always going to be the biggest issue with like gun infantry compared to a tank. All right. Path of Destruction. Warpsmith Auto lives also on Warcom. When this model uses this Dark Pact ability, you can reroll leadership. And then if his unit shoots and kills something, he gets to heal 3 wounds. This is cute. It's not bad. It's like sub 20 or 15 points. You have Warpsmith. Warpsmith doesn't like give anything for Havoc, so leading them is kind of a waste. To be fair, I guess you could just do it solo if you wanted to. But healing those Havoc backs, who I don't think have an icon, though don't quote me on that one, is quite impactful. That's always the biggest issue with these infantry units that don't have icons, like Terminators, Raptors, Red Corsairs. They're kind of just more annoying than playing with Chosen and Legionnaires because they just will fail their Dark Pack sometimes. This helps you with that. Next is Eye of Oblivion. Warpsmith Auto only. When this unit is selected, shoots like one enemy with a 24. The enemy unit has +6 detection range for this unit only. So it says if your Warpsmith is leading Havoc, taking a +6 detection range. This doesn't actually matter in most instances because Havocs are probably taking last cannons, except unless Havocs are hopefully, fingers crossed, one of the units that go cheaper but last cannons cost points. That the units they want to shoot at can't be hidden anyways. So unless like chain cannon or heavy bolter Havocs get a giant point decrease, and then you can actually maybe want to shoot at infantry units with hidden, it's not going to do a lot. And like I said, Warpsmith doesn't actually like do anything for leading them. So you're like having to take a whole leader just to lead 5 Havocs and then needing to buy a second enhancement to do it. And that's a lot of hoops. All right, strats. 1 CP, pick a Havoc or Obliterator selected to shoot. And when they Dark Pack, they get the second half. So it says 1 CP, you get lethal hits most of the time, which is okay. If you combine this with other outside buffs, maybe if you're near Abaddon to get real hits and stuff, it's more impactful. But these are a very low amount of units. It's either 2 Havocs or 2 Obliterators or 4 Havoc guns. So it's not the biggest thing in the world you're buffing. Snare Fire. Proposed move phase is a reactive move. If someone ends a move within 8 inches of a Havoc unit, that unit gets to make a D3 +3 move. This is quite good. Havocs are a unit that likes going a Rhino, so you can set a Havoc up, shoot, and then get ready to react move just behind the wall potentially, or back into your car. So this is nice. It is only restricted to Havocs though, but reactive moves are actually kind of rare in CSM. They don't exist too often. Like Huron obviously has his, but like strat wise, it's not very common. So that's quite impactful. An Undying Hatred. Your shooting phase when enemy targets a Havoc or Obliterator, you get what we call transhuman. If the strength is higher than your toughness, it's -1 to wound. These rules are always good, especially on Obliterators. They have a lot of wounds. They have high toughness. Unless you're strength 15, you're wounding Obliterators on 4s now with a strat. And they have, 4 or 5 wounds, so they're kind of annoying to deal with. Havocs, not so much. They are just a T5 2 wound Space Marine. But so nothing in here is bad. at all. Not a single rule in here is actively bad. They're all usable and decent. So I think this attachment is nice if you already liked Havocs and Obliterates to begin with. Like I said, it doesn't really give you any deposition importance, but it gives you some nice rules for those models. All right, and finally, the Murder Talon Raiders, the cool guy detachment. Unique Nightmare. Like I said, we don't know what the tags are yet, because I assume that's in the MFM, but I assume Nightmare Hunt is a Nightmare detachment, and maybe the other one, the one from the Codex. That sucks. So yeah. So the first strat. Sorry, the detachment ability. This is like a very watered down version of Murder. The other one, Nightmare Hunt, but more impactful than it was before. All right, friendly Hereditary infantry fly that target a battle shock can read or below half, at or below half, so even better. Can reroll once a hit, which is fine. The second part is when an enemy attacks a fly infantry while they are battle shocked or half strength, -1 hit. -1 hit is getting more rare as we see in some of these upcoming rules. They are changing -1 hit and shooting for army wide rules for a lot of armies. So you can make potentially these fly big squads or raptors or warp talons of -2 to hit easily in cover, which is kind of good. You're not really taking this attachment ability, but it's not an actually terrible attachment ability. Like I said, the at half strength thing is very important. That means like a 6-man unit before, which would almost never be below half strength, is at half strength at 3 now, and is that's more common to get your buffs off. And also remember, Raptors battle shock you up -1 when they go into at the beginning of the combat phase. So it's like not the most uncommon thing. They will get either of these buffs off. Next, Shadow Cold Talisman. Chaos Lord jump pack. His unit has a 5 save. This is fine. It is more fine now than it would be in 10th edition. Because it means like before, if you were in cover against AP 30 weapons, you'd roll 5 up save anyway, so it would do almost nothing. But it's still, most things are AP 2 or less in the game, so it's not going to come out that often. This is like, has to be cheap, because you also have to want to take a Chaos Lord with jump pack model, so you're going to want multiple Raptors being led. And I think Harkin, in most instances, is going to be better than a Chaos Lord. Not always, but I think most of the time. Secondly, Pact of the Cursed Pinions. This enhancement. Chaos Lord jump pack model. This model has Demon and +1 attack. This enhancement does actually nothing. Goonhammer said, and I'm not, quoting them saying they're right, because I don't know yet, did say in an upcoming document, the Chaos Lord is being changed to be able to lead both Warp Talons and Raptors, which would be impactful. It still wouldn't do anything unless you had to have the Demon keyword to lead Warp Talons. If they just lets him lead Warp Talons baseline, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, this is the document where they change rules, and he's not here. So I'm not going to quote them and say that's correct. That's just what they said today. That would be the only reason for this enhancement to exist, because fundamentally it just says your Power Fist has +1 attack, and that's all it does, and makes you a demon unit, which has no benefit. I checked everyone's CSM. There might be one very niche rule, but there's almost no rules in the whole book for something as a demon. It's mostly, if it's a downside, it means you, for instance, in Pac-Man Zealots, you can't use the +1 to all stats in a strat when you're a demon. But there's no like buffs for being a demon. So you just suffer anti-demon rules to get +1 attack and pay points for it. So this enhancement makes no freaking sense. So hopefully the Warp Town thing is correct and he can read Warp Towns. That would be nice, but I'm not going to say that's happening yet. All right, strats. These is where things are cool. And like I said, what's most important about Warhammer Talon Raiders is this. CSM wants to play Purge, CSM wants to play Take and Hold. So if you can get those for 1 DP, you're good. Lunging Talons. When a infantry fly unit makes a charge move that is selected to fight, they gain Lance. This is very good, especially in a big 10-man Raptor with Harkin or big Warp Talon squad. A 10-man Raptor squad has 5 Power Fists, 2 Power Swords, and 3 Chain Swords. So giving that unit Lance, sustained hits, maybe reroll once to hit, that's a big damage buff, and then whatever your character has. And the Warp Talons really need it because they are kind of an anemic damage unit for how expensive they are, and their whole game plan is about killing something and leaving. If they don't kill something, they're screwed. So making them, get them that Lance, so they wound everything on 5s or 4s, twin linked, potentially, realistically killing it, that'll help a lot. Next, Raking Pass. Move phase when a friendly fly unit has select infantry fly, select a fallback move, they can still charge. This is good. Fallback and do stuff is very good. Quite premium. It's also fallback and do stuff is somewhat rare in CSM. Usually CSM has a good amount of access to advantage charge, but sometimes fallback and do stuff is kind of weirdly rare, which is also a big benefit of Hurons because you can have army-wide fallback, shoot, and charge, and then you have advanced charge strat. That was always a big benefit to them. It's nice to have it here, especially since you want to be taking Warp Talons or Raptors here. Finally, Warp Twisted Terrors. Move phase when a friendly Warp Talons unit ends a move. Take an enemy unit within 9, which is funny. They kept this one at 9, besides monsters of equal. And you take a Battle Shock at -1. These are fine. These rules are very random. Like, you can go for really trying to Battle Shock someone. You do this strat. Hope it passes. Doesn't pack. Send some Raptors in. They also make you take a Battle Shock at -1. And then also you have Harkin. They probably are going to take a single wound. And then Harkin makes you take Battle Shock tests at below starting strength. And so he can do that in their command phase. And you can really try and make someone fail. I would never recommend, flexing into Battle Shock a lot. But, if this is going to win you the game or screw your opponent, and you have a CP to potentially just waste, think about it. And also, if they're right next to a Raptor anyways, it's going to be -2. So that's, obviously you have to combine it because the strat only works on Warp Talons, but a -2 Battle Shock is quite likely they'll fail. Like, a normal unit is rolling an 8, an average unit is rolling a 9. Only the bravest of the brave are rolling 7, so it's more likely they'll fail than not. So overall, attachment is great. Lance is amazing for both the units. Fallback charge is great. Attachability is fine. And it gives you the best step position you want to play. So it got you everything you want. All right, let's go to the fact section. So I want to talk about something right here that is actually confuses me. So the Master Maelstrom got updated to support, but they sadly didn't update the data sheet for some reason. But I don't know how that works with them. How I think it works is it just means they can't stay on the battlefield alone. I think it's only a detriment because they have this rule that says they can only join a unit with Huron. But they don't join units and declare battle step. Now they're support. They have to do it in the listing step. So I think this whole rule is just like gone. If it is, yeah, I don't think this rule applies anymore. So what I'm going to play at until I get otherwise. I'm going to play it just as it is currently. They can only hang out with Huron, and they have to be led now because they have the support tag. But if it's like what I think potentially it could be, like I'm just trying to be safe, is if they essentially have to get rid of that rule because it doesn't work in 11th edition. You're not like attaching a unit like I did in the list step. You have to do it, which is after that. That means they don't have to hang out with her anymore, which could potentially you can do Master Maelstrom with a Sorcerer or Master Maelstrom with Abaddon, which would be crazy, especially because you could do the healing stuff and stuff. So hopefully that happens. But like I said, I'm going to play for it safely as the old style. They can only hang out with Huron and such, which is fine. Huron's amazing. So I just want to talk about that now because, like I said, they got changed to support just like the Wardens of Ultramar did. No, I didn't want you to take those guys solo anymore. Look at these Raptors. Look how cool they are. All right. Rules changes. Nothing there. Nothing there. These are old. 8-inch deep strike. Nothing there. Nothing there. That's about the same. Oh yeah, this is they essentially changed Pactron Zealots to say you can't take Master Maelstrom mixed marks anymore. They got rid of it finally. But yeah, so it's like both units have to have the same keyword. And they also set Epic Hero too. So Master Maelstrom can only hang out with undivided units, which is a loss, but it's fine. If you want to run it there still. Nothing changed there. These are all old. No, okay, let's see. This one different. I think this one's the same. This one they changed. They actually changed it, buffed it, which is cool because I didn't also look like they buffed the Spectral Spice Trap. So Bringers of Despair. This is the fight phase. Veterans of the Long War fight first strat. This is obviously much worse. I think it used to be start of the fight first phase. Now they changed it to 1 CP and just end the fight phase. This is essentially a restricted 1 CP interrupt now. It still only works against your Focus of Hatred, which is your at the moment ability. But it's at least 1 CP now, which is nice. They changed the reactive move to 8 inches. AOC nerf. They made Masters of Execution support. That's the only support we got, except for Masters of the Maelstrom later. I don't know why they're not in the same group. Unless I'm crazy. Am I crazy? Did Master Maelstrom actually not get it? I'm going to keep reading. Maybe I just read this as Masters of the Maelstrom. But yeah, so they the only one it says right here, they made Master Maelstrom support, which doesn't actually do anything because that's what they were before. They were our only, this is actually really annoying, I'll say. They were our only support leader. Essentially, they had the duplicate lead ability, And we have a crap ton of leaders, so I don't know why they didn't make anything else support. It sucks. It's lame. But yeah, no real changes there. They added frame to models that need it. The Helldrake became a normal flyer, which is funny, or a normal like skimmer. It moves 12 and it's not an aircraft. So you can just deploy on the ground and move as normal. I don't think it's going to be good, especially the CSM1. CSM1's the oldest and worst, but it's fun. And we like the Helldrake. Abaddon, the spoiler, they didn't change anything. Curse Cult is the same. These are all just like changing, like folding things. I don't know why they do that now. Cypher got the normal Vec change, everything else got. Abby's Bile is the same. Yep. Yes, Lord, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Lord Disco is all the same. Look how bad this guy was. These are all new rules. Lol. So funny. Obliterators are just telling you once per battle per unit. And sure. Bash short buffs that happened forever ago. Warp Town ability is the same. Rhino is the same. Land Raider still can take mutilators at only 2 slots, which is fun. So I guess they're keeping that. And they updated the Trader Guardsmen. Now they get +1 save instead of cover. So maybe I'm crazy. 1 second. Let's check. Am I crazy? I am crazy. They didn't update them to support. What the hell? Let's go. We're going to do a little thing real quick. Yeah, they did add Wardens of Ultramar to support. I just biffed and imagined that these guys got support. Let's check real quick. Support. Exalted Champion got support though. Bring that guy back. Yeah, so the Master Mail server not support. I don't know how I read that, and I just read it wrong. I guess I just read Masters. My brain died this morning. All right, so that's fine. No changes though, so I don't even have to think about this anymore. They work the exact same as they do now. Is that like good at all? I'm trying to think if there's any like benefit for them not to be a support. Because before they would like screw kills because you would have to kill the whole unit. That doesn't apply anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. Because characters, if you don't kill the whole unit, you don't kill the whole unit anyways. I don't think there's any real value for this unit not to be support, so that's fine. His precision got buffed because he has a massive amount of attacks. That's good. Yeah, nothing really there. Sorry I confused you guys. We're glad we're on this journey together. Cool. There is CSM. There is this is a little depressing, maybe. Like I don't, the depositions on our main detachments is a little sad. We're definitely gonna have to, just like we're doing for Drukhari, we're gonna have to go to different avenues. Maybe it's exciting ones. Like I said, Fellhammer potentially. I'll make a video when I think the best depositions and detachments are. Probably Sunday or Monday or whatever after they do the Drukhari one. But like Fellhammer, maybe even Soul Forge Warp Pack, but that has issues. Warp Strike, I'm liking that. Veterans is a long war. Those are a lot of options we got to. Even Nightmare Hunt. Some people have done good with that a couple times, and now adding another attachment to that is very good. So there we go. Sweet. Let's go on to the next army, which should be World Eaters. All right, let's talk about World Eaters. World Eaters have not the same problem as CSM. It actually have kind of the opposite. So they got pretty much most of the depositions they wanted. Maybe they could have used one more take and hold. The issue of World Eaters is their army is kind of strangleholded by Berserker Warband. And Berserker Warband, to no surprise, is 3 attachment points. And that one is purged, so it's kind of perfect. The issue with World Eaters is a lot of their day sheets feel as if GW wrote them with Berserker Warband baseline and did not price them adequately for not having Berserker Warband all the time. Imagine a Berserker baseline is 4 techs at 411 at 18 points without a damage ability baseline because he doesn't have rerolls or sustain or any of that crap baseline. He just has a blood surge. Obviously, your blood type table thing can give you some of those buffs, but that is an incredibly overpriced unit baseline because usually he's 5 attacks, strength 6. Big difference. So the army definitely feels like strangleholded by Berserker Warband. Berserker Warband gives you the damage buff you want. It gives you some nice rules like a Blood Surge rule, auto advance Blood Surge on 8 on Berserkers, which is equivalently +1 now. Someone got even better, and then like -1 damage in melee. So it's got a lot of general rules. Got some good enhancements too, like the Berserker slave. So I've had a lot of I don't know what the word is, pros or cons with this army this edition. I do hypothetically love world eaters. I love the index, and I had some problems with the index. Like I loved how the index played, and I loved like its rules, but I hated how one it was probably the most one data sheet army in the game. It was pretty much Exalted 8 pound was your only unit. You played just Exalted 8 pound. They were the only thing that could do anything. And then obviously Angron, who was amazing. And you just had a backup of random crap that, like Spawn, they didn't do anything except were durable. You usually brought maybe one squad of normal 8 pound who just sat behind your 8 pound to give them Exalted 8 pound to give them +1 to hit and such. But your army was kind of crap. And the blood type table was so good, and it brought a lot of feast or famine aspect. Like you needed your feel no pain, your +2 movement, your advance and charge, all that crap. Sometimes you didn't get one of them that you needed, and it was really, really bad. So I vastly preferred how the Codex did, and it opened up the viability units. Like they made Berserkers actually good, they made the characters good, they made both versions of 8 pound good and separate. Well, Exalted 8 pound were bad on release, but they reworked them to be them good. So the 8 pounds became separate but good. Um, Remember, normal 8 pound were freaking strength 5 in the index. Holy crap, that was so bad. Obviously, they nerfed Angron. I liked nerfing Angron because Angron was so brokenly. Like I said, he stranglehold the Codex. He was so good. He went so fast. He did so much damage. And then randomly, you just kept resurrecting him. And that was just a toxic mechanism. So they did a lot of things I liked. Like I said, widening the Codex and then lowering the need of the blood type table. It's not called the blood type table. The Blessings of Khorne, that's what it's called. By essentially baking in +2 movement on most data sheets in the army, reducing a lot of the great rules and replacing them with more synergistic, like supporty rules, like a better pile and consolidate, real charges, stuff like that. A fight on death, you don't need your feel no pain. So they got rid of the things I disliked about it a lot of the ways and opened up the codex, which I really preferred. But then the issue is they released a codex of some of the worst detachments ever. Like technically, the Demon King detachment was cute on release. They're not. That was kind of an overstatement. They're not actively the worst detachments ever. Like that's probably the Black Templars and maybe Dark Angels as codex detachments. But the detachments they released are mediocre, not very good. And the whole army has just been Berserker Warband the whole single time, strangleholded by the attachment. Like some people make Ortrek kind of work, but that's incredibly niche. So I was hoping there would be new avenues to play this army with these detachment changes, which there kind of is. These 1DPs are very good, and I'm very excited for them. But the biggest issue is what do you pair them with? Because the 2DPs are not like, freaking dog water, like, wipe your ass with them, but they don't make up for Berserk Warband, and Berserk Warband has the detachment you want, the Purge the Foe. So that's the perspective I want to bring in when we talk about these rules and how it's really going to work. Because I really like these 1DPs and I would like to play them. I really, I'm racking my brain out of combos. Like at the moment, I'm trying to do maybe Brazen Engines with Core Demonkin, do like 5 to 6 man, 5 or 6 squads of 8 bounds, some Defilers, some Mauler Fiends, stuff like that. I really want to play Terminators if you know anything about me. But what do you combine Terminators with? Or, it would be Vessels of Wrath. That would be an amazing combo if Vessels of Wrath still existed, but they reworked it sadly. And the one direct combo in this detachment is Brazen Engines, the Demon Engine detachment combined with Goretrack, but you're not allowed to do that. So there's a lot of conflicting things here. Let's talk about the exciting parts, get excited for the cool rules we do have and potentially think of some combos. Oops, that's CSM again. Get rid of this crap. All right, here we go. Brazen Engines, first one. This detachment ability is quite good and quite impactful. I really like it. So, start the 5 phase. Each demon engine in combat picks an enemy it's in combat with and battle shocks them -1. This is a very good rule. There's similar rules to this with maybe people like Commander Dante and other such units that are very impactful. Obviously, Dante ability is better. It's an aura, and it's a 6-inch aura affects everyone. He doesn't have to be in combat to use it. But this is a similar thing, especially if you bring multiple demon engines, like I said, multiple defilers, some Mauler Fiends, maybe Hellbrutes when you upgrade them with this upgrade down here, stuff like that. And now with Battle Shock, like I said, not the most amazing thing in the world, but is better than it was in 10th edition. This could be more impactful than it even was. Next is, and one thing I will say, I do think the Defiler is one of the most underrated units in World Eaters. I think it's actually very good, and it's even better now than it was in 10th edition. This is due to multiple reasons. One, the cover changes. It's a mass amount of AP1 weapons are even better. It's not going to randomly get bad saves. Two, I assume it's probably not going to get nerfed because it hasn't really been played. If the other defilers do get nerfed, so it's a defiler that stays good. Three, it has a very interesting game plan of trying to overwatch something like a transport, like a rhino. And then if you overwatch something like a rhino and kill it, it has its ability, which is if someone sets up within 12 inches of you, you can either shoot them or charge them. So if you overwatch a rhino that gets within 12 inches of you, it kills it, which is not the most unlikely thing in the world. The unit comes out within 12 now, and you just get to shoot or charge them because especially now with the disarm changes, they have to just touch the transport, which means it's very likely to have to stay within 12. And then so it leads to that amazing gameplay you could potentially try and do with the rhino. And then finally, the toe and chains for obvious reasons. So a lot of that is to think about. I think Defiler is really underrated and understated, and this attachment makes it even better. Okay, so let's get to the enhancements. Talons of Butchery, Mauler Fiend only. Its fist became Cleave 2. This is a really funny buff. One, the Mauler Fiend just has a lot of attacks baseline. It's got 8 fist attacks baseline, and it's got 8 slappy hands. It's got little whips. Those are all pretty good strength. You know, okay AP, good damage. The whip's only 1, to be fair. This gives guy a crap ton of attacks. If you fight a 5-man, he has a total of 18 attacks. If you fight a 10-man, he's got 22. You know, up to, you know, fighting a 25-man, this guy's got like 30 attacks. It's 2 per 5, which is crazy. How much attacks this guy, quality attacks this guy does. It is maybe a slightly weird, maybe, I don't know, oxymoron's the word, but, you know, a Morphine wants to be fighting big vehicles. This does nothing to big vehicles, but it means he's very good at fighting 5 and 10-man Marines and never whiffing. So think about that. Next is Murder Forge Entity. World Leader Vehicle. The unit has the Demon keyword. And the only thing that really does do is, besides make you weak to anti-demon rules, is let you use these strats. So it's pretty much if you want to take Hellbrute or a Land Raider, and given the rules here, like I said, this would be a direct combo potentially with Warstrike Onslaught, which you're not allowed to do. Like I said, this is unique Onslaught. You know, take a Land Raider, make a Demon, let it use all the Gorjak strats, let it use all this strats. That's pretty cute. But you can't do that, sadly. So it's pretty much just going to be you're not taking this or you might be upgrading a Hellbrute. The Hellbrute got changed. We'll get to later. I don't know exactly nerfed, but probably nerfed. All right, Apocalyptic Clarity. Your shooting phase or 5 phase when friendly demon engine you selected to fight or shoot. You get to ignore ballistic skill, weapon skill, hit, and wound rolls. This is really good. This would be good if it was just the hit type modifiers, but it's also wound modifiers. So this is another big buff for the Defiler, because Defiler hits on 4s, but he has rapid fire a lot of attacks, like the little nipple guns, the Excruciators are rapid fire 3, so they have up to 18 attacks within 18 inches. The Ectoplasm, I think, is rapid fire 2, so it's D6 plus 2 shots in 18 inches. And the Laser Cannons, I think, have rapid fire 2 or 1. That's a lot of shots. Now you're ignoring mods. You're ignoring wound mods, too, importantly. And that's really good. This is very nice. You know, it's very good for a Forge Fiend 2 for obvious reasons if you're doing that. Or just trying to beat the crap out of something in Malix. And, you know, if you're fighting like a Veterans Guard, you're just wounding it on 2s and nothing they can do about it. Die. So very good. Helps the, you know, even makes that Defiler even better than what I was talking about. All right, Trail of Destruction. You pick a Demon Engine unit. When expected to move, you can get mobile. So you can potentially do this, you know, get a Land Raider mobile. To be fair, there's not a lot of reasons a Land Raider needs mobile. It's not fast enough to use a lot of reasons for it. It still, I think, only moves 10 in this army. And other than that, it's just like the Hellbrute. Hellbrute's kind of fast. I think he moves 9. So he could be using it. He'd probably be the best reason for it. But that's about it. And like I said, you have to pre-call it too. You have to already upgrade them to use it on them. Like, but other than that, the Defiler does not need it because it doesn't work in the charge phase, so no use there. And then the Mauler Fiend could use it. He's on a kind of big base. He's probably the most impacted by that. So I'll say it's decent for a Mauler Fiend and a Hellbrute. Next is Go to Fury. Your opponent shooting phase when an enemy unit that targets a friendly demon engine has shot that demon engine, you make a surge move D6. So it gives you a D6 surge move on demon engines. Surge moves are always good. Like, they're never bad. They are strictly better next edition because they, you know, we're essentially in 11th edition, but they're strictly better in 11th edition. It's essentially 1 inch farther because of how engagement range works. This attachment is overall good. It's really good. I really love it. Like I said, I'm my biggest idea right now is, like I said, playing Possessed Slaughter Band, that's what's called, with this attachment. Try and get some Defilers, a Mauler Fiend, and like 5 squads of 8 bound, and just try and, you know, stage and beat the crap out of people while the Defilers do a lot of work. That is cool. That's exciting. I'm gonna keep trying it until I get to that sweet Overwatch transport play I was talking about. But we're gonna get there. It's gonna be awesome. All right, next is Butchers of Corn. This is my detachment. GW wrote this for me. and me only. I'm very happy. I've been over this before. I brought 30 Terminators to multiple attachments. I love this day sheet. I think it's very underrated. I just I think it's actually good in the current 10th edition rules. Playing obviously Berserk Warband. I just don't play World Eaters because I don't like their codex, as I I talked about very much. But this is I think it's even better in 11th edition. Like I said, I think the Terminators are better in the codex than they were when I played them. Like, they always move 7. I really love the rerolls of charges and hits and stuff like that. They're really cool. And their reroll charge ability just technically got an indirect buff by the Blessing of Corn changes we saw, we're going to see later. So that's kind of cute. All right, so the ability is Terminator unit. At the start of the fight phase, if a Terminator unit is in combat, you can make a 3rd Blessing of Corn roll for it. That's what it says. That is quite good. You know, that means your Terminator squad's always going to have its 4 up 5 on death. It's always going to have, you know, that damage off. If you're picking like 6-inch pile consolidate, +1 to charge, bury the lead, it's +1 charge, not real charges, stuff like that. You're always going to have your damage buff. You're pretty much always going to have your not feeling the pain, your dev wounds, or your final death, stuff like that. So that's very good. Next, 2 really good enhancements, though these are kind of weird. They're both upgrades to Terminators, so you're really only going to take one of these. You're going to take either or. Sanctify and Slaughter. Terminator squad, this unit has +1 OC. That's very good. It's very good as someone who's been running hordes of elite dudes with, you know, OC1 that get to OT2 with Huron. Just making OC2 baseline is very good. Second is Force Trained Veterans. This unit melee attack +1 weapon skill. This is also amazing. I think you're more likely to take this than Sanctified and Slaughter, but there is a thing to think about. I think Sanctified and Slaughter is also interesting and potentially gore track. You put them in Land Raiders, disembark, steal objectives, kill something. Something to think about. But both of those enhancements, very good. Force Trained Veterans gets your damage even higher. You're already getting baseline damage with Adamantium Avalanche. And then now you're getting even just baseline damage, just always hitting on 2s. Very sweet, very cool. All right, strats. 1 CP in the 5-phase big turn unit, you get +1 tech. That's very good. It gives you part of the Berserker Warband ability that you sadly can't get. You know, getting to, you know, 4 attacks, hitting on 2s. When you're also doing really good damage to shooting, makes them a really good hybrid unit that's, as we're going to get to, really durable. And then World units just do good damage because you can have sus or lethal and or dev wounds and melee, any of the above or all of them. So you can just do nice damage whenever you want. Combined with every attachment, like if you're playing Gorchak, you might have Lance when you charge. Stuff like that. Trophy for the Throne. Pick a Terminator unit that's selected to fight. They get +1 to wound against vehicles or monsters. This is obviously better than Lance because it works on your opponent's turn. It's obviously only against vehicles and monsters, but that's usually what you're going to need it against. Obviously, there's some high toughness like mounted and stuff and beasts. But most of the times you're wounding most things on 3s or 2s, so you don't need the help too often. But the, you know, the vehicle monsters that are, you know, T10 or higher, you definitely need the help. So very good there. And finally, Wrath Beyond Reason. 2 CP. Opponent shooting phase when they target Terminator squad, range attack of -1 damage. This is very good. This is the inverse of the Berserker Warband strat, and this is in most instances going to be more useful. This is, I will say, only against 1 attack activation. So it is steep for 1 attack activation. Doesn't affect the whole phase. What -1 damage shooting is premium. It's very important. It's very good. It means your guys can run on place if you're trying to play something maybe like Take and Hold or Person Foe, where you're trying to run on a spot and stat check durability skew your opponent away. So this helps you do that. So overall, this is good. This attachment's amazing. There's nothing in this attachment that is bad. Every single rule here is good. Nothing here is even like, this is okay. Everything here is good. And that's like, you know, kind of my issues with the attachments of World Eaters is this attachment is so good that like either I want to play all 3 1 DPs or play like a very mid 2 DP just so I can play my Terminators or my Cool Defiler attachment. And that's probably not competitive enough, and that's sad. But I do love these. Thank you for whoever wrote this. Next is Vegetables of Wrath. This is a rework of the Grotmus one and not kind of a shadow of its former self. Let's get into it. Wrath of Corn, friendly character units that aren't epic heroes, which to be fair is like half of the characters in World Eaters, get either cleave 1 or +1 AP. This is a minor buff, but is okay. Like I said, it only works on Moes and Juggernaut Lords and Demon Princes. So not a lot of options there. The Juggernaut Lord at least has 2 melee weapons, so the cleave 1 goes double there. But in most instances, it's going to say +1 AP, which is not the greatest thing in the world. Next is Archsauler. This is once per game, his unit gains all blood, blessing, and corn abilities. That is good. Unless this is like 40 points, you're probably going to take it. You know, not much to say about there. It just gives you +1 to charge, sus, lethal, dev wounds against infantry, 4 or 5 death, and maybe something else. That's a lot of buffs. Next is Gateways to Glory. Demon Prince only, you have mobile and +1 charge. I think that means it's only foot only, but yeah, you're going to take on a foot guy. That's helpful for him. Obviously, he's one of the characters you want to take in this attachment anyways, because he's one of the few non-epic heroes. He gives you free strats. He gives, I think, himself dev wounds or maybe an aura of dev wounds. But giving him +1 charge, so he can be +2 charge if you have the Blessing Corn up. And mobile is quite nice, especially since he's not on a giant base. He can go through the walls and be fast. Sorry, excuse me. Scorn the Witch. Any phase when a warrior's character that's not epic hero takes a mortal wound, they get a 4 feel no pain against mortal wounds. Like I've said this strat, we've seen this strat a bunch of times already. This strat is good when it's good and otherwise kind of mid, because like, you know, if you're taking a random grenade, you're taking like a tank shock randomly and it's doing like 2 to 4 mortal wounds, you're especially spending 1 CP to negate 1 to 2 mortal wounds. That's not great. If you're getting shot by a Stern Guard and you're taking 20 mortal wounds at once, this will help a lot. So it just needs Aspire to Infinity. This strat is really bad. Fight phase when a character unit is selected to fight. It says unit, that might be cool. That character unit. Okay, we're good. That character's unit's models attacks have +1 attack, +2 strength. What you do is you spend 1 CP to get the Berserker Warband attachment ability for 1 model. Like your 1 Juggernaut Lord, your 1 Demon Prince, your 1 Moe. It's +1 attack, +2 strength. Like, you know, maybe in some ways that's Lance, you know, +1 wound in a lot of ways, but God, that is very unimpactful most of the time. All right, last is Punish the Craven. Your opponent's move phase when an enemy is selected to fall back from an engaged Worldly Eater's character, they must take a Desperate Escape at -1 of their battle shock. These type of rules are worse this edition because unless you are exactly 1 wound, Desperate Escapes will always do less damage. Because before it just used to die on 1s and 2s, now it's you take 1 mortal wound on a 1 or 2. So unless you're 1 wound guy, which you will be taking more damage, it's less. And it scales up exponentially. Before you could one-shot tanks with Desperate Escapes, now they just take a 1 hardy mortal wound. I guess it's 3 for tanks because it's a hazard test. But yeah, 3 mortal wounds in total, not really comparable. All right, let's get to the rules. All right, so Blessing Corn, like I said, got to change. So they're changing all the reroll charge abilities. I really don't know why. But this one, the change from reroll charges to +1 charge. This means you can't fail the dreaded 2-inch charge, which is, I can tell you, I've done a bunch of times already, at least 3, which is really funny. So this is very nice. I don't know if this is a strict upgrade. It's also cute because I think the enhancement in Berserk Warband that gives you reroll charges says if you have Unbridled Bloodlust up, you get +1 charge. So that one got a strict buff. That means if you have this attachment up, you get reroll charges and +2 to charge. Pretty cool. I didn't change it. Other than that, that's fine. Like I said, it's also a buff for Terminators because they get reroll charges too. So that's just a buff for them. So this is probably like a net. It's probably slightly worse than generic reroll charges, but it has the nice part of you literally can't fail 2-inch charge and the small buffs to those things I said, which is cool. Berserk Warband as strat doesn't look any different to me. Just telling you surge moves work. Just telling you disembarked surge moves work for this one. Horn Demon, this keeps the nerf to it where you have to be 6 inches away. And this is actually even, this strat got nerfed again. This strat used to be, I think, just outside engager range or 3 inches, and then they changed it to 6. And now it's still 6, but now you have to go for a 7-inch charge. You used to go for a 3-inch charge, now you go for a 7. Or Summoned by Slaughter. It's been wrecked. Who's that? Slaughter bound. Not really any changes there. Not really any changes there. Just telling you surge moves work. Heldrake became a normal punchy thing. You know, let's look at the World Eater's Heldrake. I don't know, it might be spicy. All right, Wappy is sadly sound, but I just checked the World Eater's Heldrake is a normal Heldrake. It has a 5 attack, strength 7 weapon. It's got a normal flamer. It wasn't anything against flying. It doesn't have any spicy increased style line. It's cute because you can you know, play it in the you know, Berserk Warband to get a better melee, or the other attachment that I was saying, the Brazen Engines, you know, it's a demon engine thing. So yeah, nothing really special in the Heldrake, sadly. Like I know the TSons one like strips cover and stuff, that's pretty cool. Rhino, nothing changed there. So we got some slight change to the Terminator day sheet. It says this unit got okay. Plus target get real hits, the same thing. All right, you can reroll charges, and if you do, you must charge the must end within the closest eligible charge target. So this is a buff to it. It just used to be they reroll charge against the closest target. Now it's you can roll your charge, then reroll your charge, and then with the reroll, you just have to end closest target, but you can still charge other people. So buff there, like I said, and a small buff with Bloodblessing Cord ability, but nice Terminators, and combined with their own detachment ability. Like I said, they keep changing these reroll charges. I don't really know why. Like ones that just say reroll charges, they don't seem to not work in 11th edition, but hey, I don't know why they did this. They're literally saying, yeah, we'll start adding red things after the first packet, but like, why not do it now? That's annoying. But that's cool there. Thoughts 8-bound is the same. Warmongers is changing how 8-inch reactives work. Telling up icons of corner work. Nothing new there. Nothing new there with the Corn Berserkers telling you how surge moves work. Hellbrute. Hellbrute got nerfed. All right, once returned in the fight phase, when enemy unit targets unit after this unit will attack, you can use this ability. If you do until this unit is eligible to fight, unit has already fought this fight, you must select to fight next. So it got mostly, I would say, I don't know, the infinite fighting Hellbrute was kind of fake. So what this does is now it can fight a unit it didn't fight. But say it's in melee with 2 units, say an Intercessor squad is over here and a Stern Guard squad is over here, Intercessor Stern Guard, and the Intercessors punch the Hellbrute. Before, but the Hellbrute would have to fight the Intercessors, but now it can just fight the Stern Guard instead. Pop. And there you go. I don't know if that means it'll let you like still fight normally though. That one's weird. I don't know. So the building got changed. It's just a change. I don't know if it's exactly a nerf, but it has changed. I'd say probably a nerf, if anything. Oh, it also got changed to 5 phase only. It used to just be whenever. Like if someone shot you in melee, you could fight, I'm pretty sure, or you could at least flamer them. With 2 flamers. Yeah, 2 flamers and your bolter. All right, so it's probably a nerf. Mauler Fiend got a small buff in the charge phase when a unit clears charge. If an enemy unit is below strength, it used to be if he charged weakened people, either below starting strength or below half strength, they got +1 or +2 charge. It's also within 9 now, not within 8, as most things are. I think it was always 9. But now it's just, and if anyone is within 8 or 9 inches, that's it. He gets +1 or +2 charge. That's actually a sizable buff to the Mauler Fiend. Like I said, now he has a nice attachment, stuff like that. So nice buff to Mr. Mauler Fiend, nice buff to the Terminators, stonks. Finally, Slaughterbound, nothing new there, and then adding frame to frame things. What does this mean? Okay, whatever. Didn't they get rid of this? I thought they got rid of this and then changed it back. I don't know, whatever. If you're playing Demonkin, your Blood Crushers get the Blessing Cord with 1 squad. I don't remember. Hey, this is old. This should not be in here. You're not allowed to do it. It specifically says you can, but this is not how the game works now. It says if Bloodletter started on the ground and were put into strat reserve somehow, they can be deployed in the turn 1 with the strat. That sounds like impossible to do, but you're not actually allowed to do this in 11th edition. So I'm pretty sure this was just a qualifier for 10th edition and it's left in. Whatever, it does not matter. It's very minor. There you go, those World Eaters. Like I said, this is a very uppy downy one. Like it's technically just up because they have good depositions mostly. They have 1 good detachment, but it's like I want to play my cool new detachments, and then there's not a lot of, or really any, real viable 2DP ones. Like Gortrak, it's like cute, but cute is the word I would use for it. It's not like tournament winning really. And I went through the winnings. There's been a couple people that have won events, but it's mostly just like a 4-1 army, sadly. So I wish there was another viable 2DP one. Like, you know, CSM has way more attachments, to be fair, but they have a good choice of them, or Space Marines. So there's World Eaters. I talked about World Eaters a lot. That's exciting. It was fun. Next, we're going to go on to Death Guard. All right, before we get into the... we actually got to check the facts first. Let's do that. Alrighty. First, container range can never be greater than 12. This was hard before to do, but now it's very easy with one of the attachments. So now they're just saying it can't be more than 12. Whatever. That's minor. This one, Skull Squirm Blight. This is annoying and sad. Each time a model makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So they're really, as we've seen, and we're gonna see with Demons, and we saw with Vanguard Space Marines, if you can be easy access to like army wide -1 to hit or very little effort to do it, they got rid of it. They essentially are leaving -1 to hits only for like one use only. Either you're a leader ability or you're like a strat or something. No big auras, like big access to -1 to hit, uh, like a Death Guard ability. It sucks. It just nerfs the ability for no reason, which sucks. There's a lot of armies that you wanted to do this against. Now it's even less useful. So that's kind of sad. Obviously, you pick the +1 AP thing more often than not, like 90% of the time. And the other most time was either you're playing Demons, where the -1 hit was mostly in melee anyways. But it does have an issue, like I said, kind of with World Eaters, where it's kind of very one note. You're picking your -1 AP, 99%, or -1 armor save, or +1 AP, whatever you want to think it is, -1 armor save. And now we had potentially a second option to choose from, and now they kind of took that option away. That's a little disappointing. All right, but the attachments, Contagion Engines. This is an interesting one. This one, I don't have issues with it, but it's boring. I was very excited reading attachment ability, and the rest as we get through it, it's like not very exciting. Okay, so we get Contagion Engines, unique engines, which means you most likely cannot play with Mortarian's Hammer. We'll see. So friendly, like drone type units, bloat drones of all varieties, Hellbrutes, and Mephitic Blight Haulers have Contagion Engine. Contagion Engine units gain assault. So not big things, not Defilers, not Plague Scholars, not your Predator varieties. So enhancements, Parasitic Woe Reaper, Contagion Engine unit only. When this unit has its upgrade, this unit has fought one model in this unit heals D3 wounds. So that means you can't res models with it. It's like it was cute if you put a Mephitic Blight Hauler and heal. So this doesn't do a lot. It does automatically heal you if you fight. You don't have to kill anything. So like if you have extra points, this is like 10 points. You can put it on like a melee Mephitic Blight Hauler and not feel stupid. Lancet of the World Soar, also an upgrade. You can make it. Oh, Mephitic Blight Haulers don't. They do. Okay, sorry, I was confused. Oh, okay. So Hellbrutes and Mephitic Blight Haulers, all. So all the tiny things on 1680 mils. So friendly Mephitic Blight Haulers, a Hellbrute unit gains mobile. This is probably better than it being a strat because you don't have to worry about it. It's nice on Mephitic Blight Hauler because one, they have bigger bases, and two, they come in 2-man, so it's more impactful there. But the Hellbrute's also tiny, so you can hide very well. The Hellbrute is also, funny enough, faster in this armor than CSM because he moves 7 in Death Guard, and CSM one moves 6. As someone who's played the Hellbrute a lot recently, that shit is annoying. So that is nice. You're probably going to take that if you're taking those models. The Hellbrute is not like amazing. He's not terrible, but it's not amazing. All right, fresh vectors. Take a Contagion unit in the shooting or fight phase. You get real ones to boon. This is like very low impact. It's like best on a like either a melee blight drone or probably the flamer drone, because flamer drone doesn't hit anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. Doesn't reroll hits. Or a multiple squad Mephitic Blight Hauler. Because you have multiple guns, you have two models all with guns, 3 or 4 guns each. It's just fine. It's not like terrible strat. It's okay. Blood Rust Deluge. Shooting phase, when a Contagion enemy unit is shot, that Contagion enemy unit, it's like one invisible enemy unit. This unit is afflicted until the unit is attacked. So it's one unit gains essentially in most instances +1 AP and -1 toughness for a single activation. The only thing you really have in here that does an okay amount of damage is the heavy blight drone with blight launcher. They don't make him always AP3 and then -1 toughness, which is fine. Getting things in contagion range after turn like 2 is not the hardest thing in the world, so this is not the biggest thing. I don't think it would have even been the biggest deal if it was like after a contagion energy shoots, that unit becomes afflicted. That's what like Marines do anyways. It's like it's fine. This is a lot of this is fine so far. And finally, Soul Rot Flux. Your opponent moon phase, when an enemy fallbacks from a Contagion Engine unit, the Contagion Engine unit essentially grenades them. They roll D6. On a 1, they take 1 mortal wound. On a 2 to 5, they take D3. And on a 6, they take 3. So on average, it says take D2 mortal wounds. Which is not the most, but it's okay. This is what I was talking about this attachment earlier. It's like assault on all these models is very good baseline, except Hellbrute and the Loaded Blow Drone with melee, because it doesn't do anything. But the enhancements and the strats are kind of just whatever. But we should go over the deposition. Sorry. So this one gives you purge the foe, which is always nice. You always, Death Guard is also an army that kind of wants to be purging. It's an army that definitely wants to be purged. These slower style or durable damage armies like Death Guard and such want to be playing purge or take and hold. Priority assets very, very, in the third. I guess disruption's the same, but you want to be purge the foe or take and hold. Paragons of Putrescence, the priority assets. Flybone Host is recon, which is not good. Otherwise, what things you have is you have multiple take and holds. There's only 2 burst spells. Okay, you have Champion Contagion, which is take and hold. You have Death Lord's Chosen, which is priority. Mortarian's Hammer, which is purge, which is what it wants to be. Shamble, that's very good for Mortarian's Hammer, because Mortarian's Hammer, I've always said, is like, it's a very good attachment. Its biggest issue is like doing objectives and stuff, because your army is just a bunch of T9 vehicles that will run in places and put 3 OC on spots, and that doesn't work a lot of times. You don't have to do that as much if you're playing purge. Shambler Victorum is Disruption, Taliban Subject is Destruction, and Virulent Victorum, which is the only 3 DP, is Take and Hold. As per Virulent Victorum, that probably cements Virulent Victorum as the best way to play Death Guard. It kind of still is right now, with Mortarion Hammer, Defiler, Cheese being very good. Mortarian's Hammer, Defiler, Cheese with maybe one of these detachments can be not Contagion Engines, but one of these detachments can be thought about, but there's barely little to no synergy between Flybone Host and Paragons of Putrescence for Mortarian's Hammer. She's not getting a lot out of there. The biggest combo was Champions of Contagion, and I heard one of these attachments can't be taken with it. That would be a little sad if that's true. Other than that, Death Lord's Chosen is kind of a meme, but it really likes Paragons of Putrescence, as we'll talk about. Stamble Victorum is just terrible. Italian Summer is kind of cute, but Victorum is just static. So we're probably going to be playing Victorum still, even though it's 3DP. All right. Next is Flybone Host. The attachment's really good. I really like it, though, so if we can combine it. The issue is, like I said, I was reading on Goonhammer. It is Flybone, and they say, for some reason, Champion Contagion is Flybone, so you can't combine these. I hope that's not true. I hope Champion Contagion isn't Flybone. I would assume this was the Flybone detachment, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the rules. All right, what it says in the declare battle steps, you can select 2 Plague Marines. They get Infiltrate. This is really good. Infiltrate is really good in 10th edition for most depositions, like doing early game secondaries is really, they score more in most instances, and a lot of them require possessioning things like, say, Plunder, which says do an action in your opponent's territory. That's really good. And then you can get like your Flamer units nice and close, potentially. All right, enhancements. Insectile Murmuration. Like Marines, when they fight someone with the Contagion Rain, they get reroll 1s to wound. That's just efficient. An efficiently good strat. Nothing else to say there. And Plague Veil. Plague Marines have -3 detection range. This is also very good. Especially if you're infiltrating, then you can get a 9 or 12-inch hidden range. Be nice and aggressive, and you can pre-measure your opponent, make sure they're not dying, and just come on out and beat the crap out of them. Both of these upgrades are very good. I like them both. Nauseating Paroxysms. Start of the fight phase, pick an engaged Plague Marine unit, select one unit that's engaged with you. They take a battle shock at -1. It's nice it doesn't have any codifiers for -1, as some of these strats do, except being in combat, I guess. And you can, kind of meme with Plague Marines and take a bolter with an icon. The icon gives you another -1 leadership, so you can easily make things -2 leadership. Or just be next to a Death Shroud. They just have those anyways, so you don't have to worry about, losing one of your guns to take it. So this strat is fine. But it has the issue of it's just random. Hope it goes off. Droning Horror. Your shooting phase when a Plague Marine unit is selected. It's nice it's any 5 phase, so if someone charges you, you can say, ha! Droning Horror. Your shooting phase when friendly Plague Marine unit is selected to shoot that Plague Marine, the unit range attacks get real 1s to hit. And if they're within half range, roll 1s to wound. This is kind of obviously a non-bow with Insectile Murmuration. Because it already does the real 1s to wound. But, real 1s to hit and real 1s to wound for shot is just a very good strat. Especially, with like, if you're taking maybe a Foul Blight spawn, because you're trying to jail people. Foul Blight spawn has like a 9-inch or 8-inch aura of you can't end or start in advance. It's similar to a Spore Mine in that way. And then you might have a Malignant Playcaster who also has another Flamer. So then, but Plague Marines also have direct line of sight shooting, like Blight Launchers and Melted Guns or Plasma Guns. You might probably start taking Plasma Guns to Plague Marines now, because they're going to take less damage. I don't think on average less damage, but you might just not lose a whole guy, which is nice. But yeah, because it just means both halves aren't wasted. The reroll wounds is good for everything, but it's very good for the Flamers, and the reroll hits is good for the other guns, and the real ones is good too. So that is nice. Good strat. And finally, Eye of the Swarm. Shooting phase when a friendly Plague Marine select to shoot, they gain close quarters. That is very good. Like we just talked about some of the reasons, like the Malignant Playcaster, who has a Flamer. If you want to take a Foul Blight spawn, he has a Flamer too. Or the Pilo's Putrefier, which I think he's a gun is blast. You can't actually shoot it with close quarters. But then Plague Marines have a good amount of guns. Like they have their blight launchers, which also might be blast nowadays. They are blast. That make it incentive for not taking blight launchers. But the flamers they have, the plasma and melted guns, that's really nice. Shoot their way out of combat, or since the active player gets to choose this the first fighter for all intents and purposes, they can just activate in combat. Which is nice. Shoot something, do a bunch of damage, and then activate first and kill the rest of the unit. So detachment overall, like something else I said, doesn't have any bad rules. Like this strat is not like game breaking, but it is decent, and these strats are both good, and these enhancements are both great, and the attachability is good. This one is awesome. Paragons of Putrescence. This is a similar but different attachment. This is a character attachment, which has direct synergies with Plague Marines. So Flame Death Guard character units have +3 contagion rates. Simple, nice, clean. You start at 6 and you go all the way to 12 by turn 3. Simple, nice, clean. Pretty cool. If you could take this in Virulent Victorum, which you can, so you could get to a 9-inch contagion range on turn 1, 12-inch on turn 2, and that would be cute. Rejuvenating Swarm. Death Guard infantry model only, excluding Terminator units. Units that attacks that target this unit have strength that's greater than toughness, have -1 wound. This is very good. It's just an enhancement to give probably a 10-man Plague Marine squad what we call the transhuman effect. -1 wound against higher strength. That is just nice. Plague Marines already P6, so they're high toughness, but they have the issue of like low amount of wounds and mediumly bad armor save. So this will help them. A host of the hybridist Pox. This is an interesting one. Death Guard infantry only, once per battle, and your command phase essentially says pick a second plague, and this unit has that plague for the rest of the game. So it can mean like now my Plague Marine squad is now an aura of -1 movement, leadership, or C, or probably -1 to hit. That's what it is. If it's not like 30 points or not, you're probably gonna take it. It's pretty cute. Territorial Injection. Start a command phase, pick pick any Death Guard character, and they have +1 OC. These type of rules are very good. A lot of them have hoops, like being in combat or something else. This one doesn't. Nothing to worry about. Just, get a bunch of OC, steal points, very good for dash route diving people, or making a 34 OC Plague Marine unit. Or, a bunch of OC on Poxwalkers. That's also something to think about if you're leading them with the couple characters that can lead them, or Typhus. A Gravest Spasm. Start shooting phase, pick a Death Guard character, select one visible unit that's when contagion range. The enemy unit has +6 detection rate. Like I said, it's one of the better versions of detection range because it's for the whole phase. It affects everyone. But Death Guard's a relatively short range army if you're not just spamming Anti-LS Plague Scholars, which you're not going to be doing anymore. It's like a lot of 24 and Flamers. It's like 12 and 24 is essentially the army. So, it's a couple of longer ones, not exclusively low, but I would say a medium to low range army. It's not the biggest help in the world, but it could help some, some blow drone snipe people from 21 inches away. Stimulus Contamination. Your shooting phase of friendly Death Guard character starts an action. The action not prevent them to shoot. This is quite nice because like the Plague Marines are okay melee, but they are mostly shooting. They are a full hybrid unit, but they are better at shooting than melee in most instances. But you could do something like move a Rhino up, disembark your Plague Marines onto an objective. Use the strat to shoot something to death. Because you're doing good damage. You have sus lethal crits on 5s if you're taking Blade to Play Faster plus Pilo's Putrefier. And then still action. So it gives you some knife value. Because like these units are actually shooting units. It's not just like, gee whiz, I can action and shoot my cursor. I don't give a crap. A big Plague Marine squad that, wants to run on point, potentially wants to do that action, and then also kill something. That's actually good. This is one of the better reasons I've seen a rule like this shown so far. I like this. Detachment is really good. It obviously directly combos with Flybone Host. If you really wanted to do that. Like Death Guard, I could see all 3 1 DPs. I don't even think it's terrible. This is the first one I'm like, Your World Eaters, I was like half thinking about it. Because I have 2 good 1 DPs and like a shitty one. Nothing here is bad. This is all pretty good and leads to like a normal list of like, your bunch of drones. You can take some flamer drones, some melee drones, and blight drones, some mephitic blight haulers, and then Plague Marines in rhinos, like 2 squads of Plague Marines in a rhino, and then some, Death Guard in rhinos. I mean, Death Shroud, lead. That feels like a normal Death Guard list. All right, let's get to the fact. All right, so what you won't see here is support. So Death Guard players were potentially, well, um, thinking that their Virian units were gonna get support and have the issue you can't take a solo Foul Blight spawn anymore, or not Foul Blight spawn, the Bell guy. It gives you CP, stuff like that. No issues there. You don't have support. They just use the normal leader ability where you could put any 2 leaders in a play marine squad. You don't have to worry about it, or they can be solo if you want. So cool. We already talked about the first 2 changes. Contagion can't be 12, and Skull, the -1 they got nerfed. Albion Summoners, just telling you can deep strike 8 inches away, or you can 6 instead of 8. Things got frame. Typhus is the same. Yeah, this one annoys me. So the Death Guard, I think, has the worst Predator structure, but it was strength 10 on launch. I was like, that's actually interesting. They nerfed it to strength 9. One thing they seemingly forgot to keep in is you can't rapid ingress this ability. So I think at the moment, let me check real quick. Yeah, so they factored to say in your moon phase you can deep strike 6 inches away. Yeah, they have worded it back to the old way where it says each time this is set on the battlefield using deep strike, you can set up 6 inches away instead of 8. So we can go back to rapid ingressing Death Shroud Terminators. That's probably a mistake, but right now it works. It's kind of fun. All right, and then Plague Burst Crawler, the meme ability doesn't work. All right, there's Death Guard. Very positive here, except for the one actual sizable nerf they received, which, to be fair, army-wide Death Guard would, in cover being my student, would probably be too good. And I don't know how to fix that. They just kind of had to nerf it the way they did. There we go. That's Death Guard. Let's talk about TSons now. All right, the Thousand Suns. We'll talk about the depositions, and I want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a minute. So, what Thousand Suns want to do, to no surprise, like every other CSM, they want to play Purge. To be fair, they're not actually good at taking old unless you play technically a Rubuke Phalanx, but yeah. They're definitely a Purge to foe or probably priority asset style army, like maybe an old style, a bunch of 5 Manson characters. Cabal, what's it actually called? I can never remember the actual name for this attachment. Grand Coven. It used to be called Cult of Magic. Or whatever, back in the index days. Style army is quite good at that, or used to be. So they definitely want to be playing Purge, most likely, though. So what do they have for Purge access? For big detachments, they have just Warp Mail Pack, which is the Zangors, which is funny. Other than that, they got, sadly, Ritual Regeneration. We're going to get in this detachment, but I hate this detachment. This detachment is so anti-fun, it makes me sad. I played into, like, this style with, like, Hexwarp Thrallband and stuff already. Just doing the Dashin ability, not using any of the strats, because we didn't know them yet. And, my lord, that was with 10th edition points, to be fair. We weren't playing with Defilers, at least, but hopefully TSons go up, I hope, because this stuff is infuriating. But, so that's what we really got. So what point is saying, this attachment's really good, as we'll talk about it, and it gives them Purge. So they can get Purge whenever they want. One thing that I really want Purge is Warpforged Cabal, which is the card detachment. That's a really good one. We see it doing really well with Defilers right now. Defilers, they literally were confirmed to go, be points increased at WorkCom today. So whatever they go up, hopefully it's a lot. That would be cool. But, there's a lot of things. TSons don't have a lot of, they have a lot of okay detachments. TSons aren't an army with, like, I don't think a unplayably tear up bad detachment, except War Mail Pack. It's a very decently balanced codex. But they obviously have some better ones, like things like Rubuke Phalanx, size 3DP, and Grand Coven. That's why it's 3DP. Well, Grand Coven's 3DP because it's like the index attachment, buffs everything. So a lot of interesting combos we can do here is like Hexwarp Thrallband with Ritual Generation, Warpforged Cabal with Ritual Generation, or Secutar. You're probably going to want Ritual Generation just to get Purge the Foe. And then Change Host with probably Ritual of Regeneration and stuff like that. All right, so TSons. So Ritual Generation, I keep talking about it. This one is the healing attachment. When a friendly TSon Psyker model, excluding monster units, successfully manifests a ritual, that unit heals D3. This shit is so annoying. Because you can also res characters, so you can't even precision out their character, and they just will res it next turn. There's nothing you can do about it. There's also annoying parts of, like, potentially they cast a spell, you have killed their sergeant, and they, like, they allocate wounds to their sergeant. They res the sergeant back to life, and now he can also cast another spell, because it's like, there's not timing restrictions on how you cast spells. You just, you do all 4 of them, and you just pick model one by one. That stuff's really annoying. That such ability is so incredibly strong. Like, you can res Terminators, you can res the dumb characters, you can res rubrics, and if you have an exalted sorcerer, he also has his own res ability. It's just a lot, and it also combines with this ability, Eruption of Vitality. Pick an infantry or mounted TSons sorcerer, and he gets a 2-up resurrection ability with 3 wounds. So, you have that issue of if your opponent, is a one-phase army, they charge your rubrics, even kill the whole squad, kill the character. He comes up with 3 wounds, and then his turn, he, if it's exalted sorcerer, he reses a guy or 2 guys automatically, and then he heals and reses another guy. And then that sorcerer heals. You obviously can't heal twice, but he can also cast another spell. That's just a lot going on. It's like, it's a lot because it's combined with like, the Rubicate Terminators, and they're healing too and doing a bunch of damage, and a lot of the stuff is psychic and ignoring a lot of rules or just having crap ton of AP and stuff. And this is me complaining, but this is like the first thing in 11th edition has been infuriating. This has been really annoying. Like, not in like, oh, I just hate this. Like, actively, like, this makes me not want to play a lot. All right, Curse of Life. Infantry mounted model. When this model heals as a result of Source Invigoration, you can heal 3 of the wounds. This one's weird because it says when the model is healed. I don't know how this one works. It's either really OP when it gives you 3 extra wounds, or just makes the model heal more, and that doesn't do a lot because it doesn't work on monsters or anything. And if I didn't say this thing doesn't work on monsters, you can't use it on like Magic's Steam, for instance. Only like the infantry or the mounted, I guess. All right, so one amazing enhancement, one weird enhancement that's either like OP or not very useful. All right, rules. So we got 1 CP, an infantry mounted psyker unit gets a 5 field of pain against mortal wounds. We've been on this chat a bunch of times. They're not that good. Mutagenic magic. Start of the 5 phase, pick in the friendly engaged psyker unit, and you grenade the enemy. You roll 6 dice, each 4 up, you do 1 mortal wound. This is very nice. If someone charges you, it's like boom, take 3 to 4 mortal wounds. Very annoying. Yeah, I don't know. You can do it every 5 phase and you just keep grenading for free. It's good. Multi-dunious limbs. Huron phase, when friendly infantry mounted psyker unit select to make an advanced fallback move, you can still action. So it's fallback, advance, and action. That is very good. Thankfully it's mounted. I mean, it's psychers, so if you want to use it on Zangors, they have to be led. But that's just a good rule to have. Like, rubrics, it's not, at least shoot in action. It's just advance or fallback in action. But these are going to be nice. Like I said, the main part is detachment. These strats are fine. They're not that good. This strat is quite good. This one's okay. This attachment is for the attachment ability and the deposition, similar to the Raptor attachment we talked in CSM earlier, and having one really good enhancement. So watch out for this one. This one will be very, 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 very popular. Next is Secutar Core. This one's really cool. Friendly Secutar units have Psychic, so then they innately now ignore mods, which is quite good because they hit on 4 baseline. And then they also, friendly Psychers have an aura, which is if they are within 12 of a Secutar unit, the Secutar has +1 weapon skill. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like an inverse ability. Because if you're giving all your weapons psychic, that means you want to take all guns. So you want to take the melta gun, technically the flamer, and the missile racks. You always get the missile racks. But if you take the melta gun, you don't have a real melee weapon, so you don't get benefit of the aura. You probably will still just take the melta guns because for something down here. But it is interesting. There's a kind of like a non-bow to say. Obviously, you technically can punch someone with like your 3 attacks at nothing. But yeah, because the modifiers in melee are much less prevalent. They don't even cover as work melee, for instance, so you don't have to worry about it as much. Walking Rampart. A sorcerer, exalted sorcerer. This unit essentially becomes a tech marine. Then your move phase is at the start of the end of your movement phase, which is good. It means, it's in your move phase instead of command phase, so it has better timing. And it's just essentially whenever you pick a Secutar robot and they heal D3 plus wounds. That also means you can resurrect that Secutar robot, which is nice. Get a whole guy back. And then also they have Wells models within 3 of a Secutar robot. He has Lone Up. So that's nice. Lone Up TSons models are very nice. We can get them because TSons players like taking like solo disc sorcerers and then, casting spells through him. So if he can get Lone Up when he needs, that's very nice. And Oculus Infernum. Sorcerer, exalted sorcerer model only in your move phase, start of or end of this movement. So it's very unrestricted when you do it. You can pick a friendly Secutar within 6 and they get +1 BS. That also, range weapons get +1 BS. Also incentivizes you to take the melta gun because then you have a melta gun, you have a missile launcher, you get benefits of the psychic, and then you get benefits of the ballista skill too. And there you go. And Secutars aren't too expensive by model, so it's very nice. Have a 4-man with 4 missile launchers, 4 melta guns, and the flamers that obviously don't care about modifiers and such. That's really cool. Arcane Vetting, 1 CP, end your move phase, pick a secretary robot, and they get ejective secured. TSons, I don't think they have any like unit wise OPSEC. Like their Zangors don't do it, they uppy downy. So a OPSEC style objective secured ability, especially with an infiltrate unit, is very good. Ectoplasmic extrusion. Your shooting phase when a friendly robot unit that is within 12 of a psyker starts an action, you can still action shoot. This is very good. This is the good one. You can walk up, stand on a point. You want to be on the point because you're holding it. Now you can do one of your actions and still shoot someone with all your buffs. Now your sidekick, maybe your +1 BS, stuff like that. Really cool. Warp fields. Your opponent's shooting phase when an enemy targets a secretary robot within 12 of a friendly psyker unit. That secretary robot, range weapons that have strength higher than toughness have -1 wound. The trans unit effect I told you about. So now you're relatively durable. You know, T6 with a 3 of 5 up, 4 wound guys are less likely to die, and they have stealth always, so they have cover even out in the open, which actually matters to them because they're vehicles. So they won't have cover toe in. So that stealth thing is actually nice on them. Makes them even more durable. -1 hit, -1 wound against most things with a good amount of wounds. It's also nice because the unit lives. You can potentially heal a whole guy back next turn. Pretty cool. This detachment, like I said, combos pretty well with warp mailed pack because warp not is a warp mailed pack. Not Warp Belt Match, sorry. The Warp Forge Cabal. T-Son's names are so goofy. Because you're very incentivized to, you know, some people have taken even 12 robots, but you're at least incentivized to take one big robot squad. And this, because robots let you do free Overwatch, I think. I don't know if it's free Heroic, but at least free Overwatch, which is nice. This lets you, you know, just more rules for that. And it doesn't have restrictions. You can do them together. So just more incentives to take the robots. And finally, another GOAT detachment. Servant changes. Unique mutants, so can't take away the other GOAT detachment. All see mutant hordes. Zangors at battle line. Fine. If you want 6 Zangors, your world is your oyster now. In your shooting phase, when a friendly mutant is shooting, enemy units have +6 detection range. This is more impactful than I've said before. It is only the mutant units, so it is literally only the Bogoats. But Bogoats, if they're led by a sorcerer, have loan up 18. So they could stay within outside detection range and far away from your opponent while still shooting, which is nice. Unraveled Fates. Zangor Shaman only. At the start and end of the dude's move, you can pick a Battleshock mutant unit. This unit is not Battleshock. This is like the best version of that rule we've seen. Obviously, it's only for mutants, but usually those rules are once per game or like, you know, start of a random phase. You know, this guy can just run around and get someone. This is really good. Thicket of the Bladed Bone upgrade. Spawn only. This unit's melee weapons have +1 attack cleave. I love this upgrade. If I was taking this attachment, I would take it 3 times, 3 Scott Squad. Spawn are nice in T-Sons because, like I said, they don't have a lot of random doer units. People stand on the midfield, people to go charge early on, stuff like that. You're making them AP2 with cleave 1 each is very nice. You know, then against a 5-man, they become D6 +3 attacks at 5/2/2. That's a nice profile, even if it's on force. I love this. This is cool. I just like Spawn. Spawn are fun. All right. Prismatic Displacement. Too bad the CSM Spawn are terrible. Fucking OC0. They should have updated. They should have fact that. They obviously wrote the CSM Codex first and said Spawn are going to be OC0 this game, and then changed their mind after the CSM Codex and made all the non-CSM Chaos factions OC1. Prismatic Displacement. Your move phase when a friendly infantry mutant unit is selected to make an advance or fallback move. God, that one is hard to read. It's a lot of words. Units range attack have assault, and you can eligible to declare shoot and charge. So you can advance, shoot, and charge is what it does. That's good, especially you know, if you're taking a big squad of melee goats of any variety, either the spear ones or the normal Zangors. The spear one's got a technical buff because they do mortal wounds on the charge. Now with engagement range, now engagement range is 2 inches. It's easier for them to get them all in there, especially because they're on 40 mils. This is good for being, you know, a 1 CP advance, shoot, and charge is good. Okay. Temporal Instability. You know what phase when a friendly infantry mount declares an advance or fallback move, advance, fallback, in action. This is very good because that's probably what you're going to be doing in this detachment. What does this one do? This one is recon. So if you want to play recon, or potentially combine it with, that's really it. Unless you want to play all 1 DPs. Okay. Sure. If you want to play recon, this helps a lot. Advance, fallback, and action is really good, especially on units that most of them move 10. Speedy. And then the land rise. Your move phase when a friendly monster mutant, so the I don't know, bar tentacled mod guy, selects a move, he gains mobile. This is nice. The model is actually not that fast. So it helps him get places, but as we've seen on some of these boards, it's not actually that impactful. All right, so those are all the attachments. Let's go over the fact. All right, so none of these, this isn't a change. Just telling you your army rule works. This is the same. This is the same. 8-inch reactor move thing. I think this used to be -2 to charge or something. Yeah, because it was like start your charge phase, pick an enemy unit, and then it's like -2 charge. This is what got changed. It's interesting because Mortaine's hammer has, sorry, almost the same strat. It's start a charge phase, pick an enemy, someone within range, and they get -2 charge. That wouldn't get changed, so get wrecked, I guess. And Candium is the same. AOC effect is the same. Like, this one looks the same, but the Ensorcelled Infusion got changed to 2 CP and Warp Forge Cabal. Thankfully, that was the 1 CP gain plus 1 wound and Psychic. That was 1 CP before 1. That was an amazing strat. 1 CP plus 1 wound is crazy. But the Psychic part was kind of just flare text and most likely a downside. Now that is an upside because that strat says -1 CP, ignore hit mods, and plus 1 wound. That's ridiculous. So they changed it to 2 CP deservedly. Because imagine that thing on Defilers. It's definitely gonna hamper some of the power of this detachment, thankfully. But Defilers are not bad in 11th edition. I'm going to say that. I'm going to bury the lead on that one. All right, 6-inch Deep Strike is 6-inch Deep Strike. Telling you Warp Milled Sacrifice works. Nothing there. Heldrake got changed, except the TSons Heldrake strips cover, which is kind of cute. Maybe it'll played. Don't think so. Nothing here. These are all the same. This one I think is a mistake. I think the person who put it in wrong because it's supposed to be 6 plus D3 because Kairos wasn't changed in Demons. And they did update his data sheet in the book where it says, you know, how the new Vect works, and it still has the old gun. So I think this is a mistake, but I don't know. Maybe it isn't. Maybe they wanted to buff Kairos because technically he got 2 nerfs. His indirect is way worse, and his Vect, it did get worse. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it did get worse. I don't know. At the moment, Kairos is technically buffed, and that's weird. But whatever. Yeah, it's only for 1 attachment too. All right, this is the same thing. This is the same. This is the same. This is just updating how heroic intervention, you can do free heroics, and I think buffing its rerolls. Yeah, it's just making the rerolls more flexible, which is nice. Yeah, just telling you that you can't, you know, do the 2 CP heroic intervention free. Yeah, they do heroic intervention free, which is nice. You know, do the rework to the Sorcerer Terminator armor. Yeah, that's really it. There wasn't seemingly a lot of changes for TSons in the FAQ. Let's see. Oh, this thing was so dumb. All right. Yeah. See, like, this stuff is old. Like, so like they've kept old ones in here, which is annoying. Like that blood letter one, because here they essentially say it. No, you're not allowed to turn 1 deep strike no matter what. The blood letter one they did, and this one says, yeah, you get infiltrate, which is exactly how it works in 11th edition because you lead your characters in the list building step. So that is way before you wouldn't have to worry about infiltrates given to you. It would automatically give it to the whole unit. So that's, you know, these fact things are, I will say, is kind of annoying that they're leading old ones in here. And it's, all right, cool. As TSons, some scary things. Like I said, I did some little dooming here. I don't want to doom you guys, but I've said I've played against that evil detachment, and it's very anti-fun. So watch out for that, especially if you're playing a melee army. Next will be the Demons, and we'll do Chaos Knights last. I also forgot EC. We'll do EC after Demons. So Demons, they did a very annoying thing, which is they updated data sheets and didn't tell you what they changed. They didn't even have a fact. They just kept like questions in there. Like, here's what we changed. So there is changes in here. I tried to find some, like get some normal stuff. Like they changed, like I'll show you Kairos. First we get to Kairos, I want to show you Shadow Legion was changed. They did so. Shadow Legion now just gives you stealth and minus 1 in melee. So no minus 2 to do it stealth. But like I said, there's no things telling you things are changed. Ugh. So see, Yeah, so once returned, so they did update the actual day sheet on Kairos. That's why I'm like, I think the TSons one is a mistake because they actually updated this day sheet. But then so I found that change, and then the last one I found is a corner. Okay, and this is the last change I spotted myself is the Blood Legion detachment got changed, where if someone ends with an 8 of you get to make a Blood Surge move. It used to be 6. So like I said, there's not the fact telling you what changed, so we don't know. So if anyone spots other changes, let me know in the comments. I'm very curious. Let's get to the attachments. These ones are goofy. So this is the calorie. Ooh, let's talk about depositions. This one is very surprising for some people. Where is Chaos Demons? So Chaos Demons only 1/3 DP, which is Demonic Incursion. Shadow Legion, people thought it was going to be 3 DP, but seeing that they changed Zinch to not be broken, it's fine. So what they have is this army can go 2 styles. It can go Purge the Foe and take big monsters, which is the one it does. Or it can go a bunch of small idiots and probably go like a recon or just maybe even priority asset style. But the issue is those models are just so bad. It's like you technically can do that, and you have army-wide deep strike, so it helps. And most attachments have a way to uppy downy. But that's not great. So it definitely feels like people are going to want to do the same style and probably go Purge the Foe. The issue to get Purge the Foe, it's very niche in the grand scheme of things. But not really. So you have Shadow Legion to Purge the Foe. That's very nice for Shadow Legion player. You have Blood Legion to Purge the Foe. No surprising, but Blood Legion is not that good to say the least. But and then finally, you have Lords of the Warp. Probably one of the worst attachments in the game, as just rules come for an attachment, but it gives you Purge the Foe for things like Scintillating Legion if you want to play it that way, even Plague Legion, though Plague Legion probably wants to play Taken Old. I don't know if Legion of Excess wants to play Purge the Foe, but yeah, that's about it. Really just Scintillating Legion. So that's what you got for you. Otherwise, they have a very normal subset. They got most of everything, only 1 recon, which kind of fits Demons. It's kind of surprising they only had 1. Yeah, so really, the best way to play Demons probably is just going to be Monster Mash spam, and you want to be playing Purge. So it sounds like you'd be playing Lords of the Warp with Scintillating Legion or Shadow Legion with something else. Or Blood Legion if you're a crazy man. Legion is cool. It's just, not the best attachment. Cavalcade of Chaos. This is the mounted detachment. And I think chariots are mounted. I'm pretty sure they are. All right. If a friendly mounted unit makes a fallback unit, it can still shoot and charge. This is fine ability. Fallback shoot and charge is always helpful and good. And though it is restricted to only specific day sheets, it's good. And there's some things you can do, like a Fate Skimmer can lead Screamers. So you can give Screamer Squad fallback shoot and charge and give them mounted buffs. And that's fun. So attachment is cool. And this one, to reiterate, is, oops, not that one. Disruption. So nothing important. Apocalyptic Steeds. The Demons probably can do disruption because disruption is like an all-encompassing 2 actions, primary kill stuff. Demons can probably do disruption fine, unless you're running just 5 greater demons. Okay, keep that in mind. Apocalyptic Steeds. Upgrade. Demonic unit has +1 movement. This is a hilariously small upgrade. You can get really fast Screamers. You put it on Face Screamer unit. They become 15-inch movement. You can make, I think Blood Crushers go to 11-inch movement. I think they're 10. Or you can get really fast Steed guys, whatever they're called, or the Plague Drones. I don't think anyone's running the Plague Drones or the Steeds or upgrading the Slanesh Steeds. Like I said, you can put this on Chariot, so you can have like a Hell Flamer squad or a funny Blood Throne that's slightly faster. But the Screamer thing's pretty cool. And finally, Soul Shattering Charge. There's also an upgrade for mounted. It lets them, if they charge, they get a 3-inch engager range instead of 2-inch engager range. This is very helpful because your mounted units are giant armors. Like Blood Crushers are on giant, like 75 by 42-inch bases, and they have a 60 by 60-inch character. That means in most instances, even with 2-inch engager range, you're getting like 1 or 2 Blood Crusher in a combat unless you're fully surrounding the enemy. And they're much harder to fight now than they used to be. So keep that in mind. So one funny enhancement that's really low value, and one probably really helpful enhancement, especially running Blood Crushers. From Beyond the Veil. End your move phase from the start of battle. The strat is worded so weird. 1 friendly mounted unit in reserves, you can make an ingress move. So at the worst, at the minimum, this lets you rapid ingress another unit. Because end of any movement phase, you just go boom, I'm gonna rapid ingress here with this strat, and then potentially rapid ingress second unit. This maybe means you can rapid ingress on turn 1. I don't think it lets you do that. I don't know what from the start of the battle means. It's really weird. There's like nothing in the game that says that otherwise. But On the lowest end, it lets you rapid ingress 2 times in 1 turn if you spend 2 CP, which is good. Warp Riders. So you can rapid ingress many times every time. Warp Riders. Your move phase when friendly mounted is selected to move, you get mobile. That is decently helpful. Except it's not as helpful in 10th and 11th edition because you don't have these giant walls blocking you, but it's always nice to not be wall locked. It would be better if it was in the charge phase too. But especially like blood crushers, which are not the fastest thing in the world, it helps. An inescapable manifestation. Your opponent move phase, when they fall back from a mounted unit, the normal, they have to take a hazards test. These strats are fine. Like I said, it's really only good against 1 wound things and nichely 2 wound things if you're kind of desperate. So attachment is fine. It is a baseline help if you are already running blood crushers, fate skimmer / screamer units and stuff like that. Especially running blood crushers, because you don't want blood crushers stuck in combat, because the melee profile of blood crusher is kind of dookie. They're there for the mortal wounds, so if they can't be locked in combat, that's quite helpful. Lords of the Warp. This detachment is so hilariously awful, it makes me laugh. It has like 2 okay rules, but like funny. All right, friendly Legion demonical character models that are not monsters have +1 leadership in OC. So it means your Herald style units are like leadership 5 and like OC 2. That's it. It works on the, like a demon print. No, those are monsters. Your chariots. It works on your chariot units if you want like an OC like 4 blood throne, I think is what it is. That's like leadership 5. Stuff like that. Or like a giant fate skimmer thing. Not that good. Swollen with power. Legion Demonica character only. They has +2 wounds. So you can get a giant 11 wound blood throne. Okay. This only has 1 enhancement because it has 4 strats, 1 for every Demonica. And I think, if someone wants to correct me, I think this might be the worst strat in the game. It's pretty close. Fight phase when an enemy has... So, fight phase when an enemy unit has fought. You pick 1 friendly Legion Demonica character Slanesh that is not a monster unit that has not been selected to fight. So, your enemy fights, and then you activate this strat. You're like, what are my other units? So, you have to have 2 units in combat, essentially. And they get... fight first. So you cannot use it on fiends because they cannot be led. You cannot use it on the little horsey little dudes, seekers, because they can't be led. You might say, oh, demonettes. There you go. That's cool. 1 CP interrupt the demonettes. They have fight first baseline. You can't use them on demon prince because they're a monster. Okay. So what can we use this strat on? I'll tell you with the chariot, the hellflayer. That is the only unit you can technically use this on a demonette. It doesn't do anything because they have fight first. The only unit you can use it on is the Hellflayer being led by an expensive Exalted Chariot Carrier. And the Hellflayer ability is if he charges, he gets +1 strength to damage. So his damage is so astronomically terrible when he's charged. So this strat does almost less than nothing. It tricks you into letting Hellflayers be charged and spend 1 CP to interact with them and do 0 damage. That's quite a strat. Next, Call to Murder. Fight phase when a Legion Demonica Corn character has made a charge move, you get +1 attack. This is fine. It's like good. Gives them 33% more attacks because they have 2 attacks baseline. And what's his face? Skull Taker, the named Foot Herald, is quite good. Obviously any corner unit gets better with Blood Thrones, so we're not really going to count those, but this is a finely good strat. I'm not going to complain about this one. Bilious, whatever it's called. Where's my chair? Okay, Bilious Blessing. Start of your shooting phase. Also, start of your shooting phase is so annoying. Pick a friendly Demonica Nurgle unit that is a character. They're all character that aren't monsters. Pick a visible enemy unit with an 8 and roll 7d6. It is a start of your shooting phase character Nurgle 7-inch grenade. 7 dice grenade. That is not bad, but that's all it is. It's just a 1 extra dice grenade. You really wanted a grenade and you are leading Plague Bearers with Poxbringers or Horticulous Slimex with Piece of Nurgle. There you go. And finally, Skirling Magics. Shooting phase when a Demonica character non-monsters each unit is shot, they get lethal hits. You want to get your bolters on your Pink's Horrors lethal hits? Be my guest. So as you can see, not a lot good in here. You have 1 decent strat. You have 1 good strat. You have 1 okay strat. You have 1 pretty bad strat. And you have probably one of the worst strats in the game, if not the worst strat in the game. You have a funny attachment ability because it does make your unit OC5 when they're in shadows, which is really funny. Or leadership 5, brave little heralds. And you have a weird enhancement. But what this attachment does give you is Purge. So even if you use no rule in this whole attachment, you will probably be taking it for at least a good amount of them. At least Scintillating Legion in a lot of ways. Warp Tide. This is a cool detachment though. So now we're away from the boring attachment. We got one cool detachment, one funny detachment, and one fine detachment. All right, this is Warp Tide. This gives you recon. This is the demon. This is the infantry based battle line detachment. So like it's a pretty direct combo with Shadow Legion. Both this and Cavalcade of Chaos is like I personally like the Scout or the Fade to Darkness ability on Blood Crushers a lot, even more than a Bloodthirster in Shadow Legion. I'm kind of a hipster there. But this gives you, either of these give you rules for Shadow Legion, either with the Blood Crusher rules or potentially you want to do some cool Bloodletter or, Pink Horror things. So friendly Demonica battle line is selected advance. You get Assault or Declare Charge. Obviously, Declare Charge doesn't do anything in Shadow Legion. It helps, Blood Legion because they don't have anti-charge baseline. I'm pretty sure. We can be sure. Yes, you just get Sticky Death and Blood Surge. So that's actually a direct helpful for Blood Legion. There you go. All right, so there you go. You get Advantage Charge, Advance and Assault. That is good rule, even though your battle line are kind of dookie. But that overall is a good rule. So enhancements, Baneforge Weapon, Demonica battle line. This unit has +1 strength. It's an upgrade. It's a good. It's very good on. It's all attacks, so you can use it in shooting. Like you can make strength 5 pinks in shooting, which is cute. Strength 6 blood letters or strength 5 demonettes. All these are nice. If this is not expensive, maybe like 10 points a model, 10 points a unit, definitely take this. Soul Hungry Slaughters, battle line unit, they can heroic or overwatch for -1 CP. You're not going to take this. You're going to be taking this or whatever enhancements in your detachment. Demons usually have good enhancements. They usually take a good amount of them, so you're probably not taking too much of these to begin with. All right, next is Demonic Infestation. Command phase, pick a non-pink horror unit and heal 3. This is good. Just heal 3 guys back or 1.5 plague bearers. Or most of a whatever they're called. Nurgling. Also remember, Nurglings are battle lines, so they can advance a charge, they can heal 3. You can make them strength 3 if you don't want to be strength 2 anymore. All right, Soul Seeing. You're starting shooting phase, pick a battle line unit. Enemy within 12, and they have +6 dex range. So we've seen this a bunch of times. Quite fine. Demons are, if they have any shooting, incredibly low range. It's like you have a Lord of Change, which is 18, and a couple of 24-inch guns. So this is actually not that important. You can get that Lord of Change, add to exact 18, I guess. But that's about it. All right, Incorporeal Realities. A shooting phase, if someone shoots a Demonica battle line, you get the Transhuman effect. Strength is greater than toughness, -1 to wound. This is good on 2 units, which is Plague Bearers, because they're T5 with 2 wounds and an invul save. Nice. And pinks. If you think the unit's not going to get one shot, you can pop this, go boom, I'm survivable. Especially, if you're in cover or you're playing Shadow Legion, then they're -1 to hit and then they're -1 to wound, even though they're only T3, to be fair. They don't kill the whole unit, and you start rezzing a bunch of blues and stuff. So this is good. This attachment is quite good, even though it's, buffing units you're probably not taking a lot of, to say the least. If you're usually seeing battle line, it's usually 1 plague bear and that's it in these armies. But the rules here are kind of quite solid. So that's cool. Alrighty. So that is the demons. Let's get to the fact that doesn't exist. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They didn't do one. They just did this, the questions that are all old. Let's check if any of these are old. Yeah, above starting strength. Okay, if they get hazardous, they can split. No. Funny. No. These are all old. I don't see anything new. Yeah, so none of these. I think it's a demonic pact rule. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, no, there isn't there's nothing changes. They didn't do a fact for no reason, which is really annoying. Like I said, if there's any changes I didn't catch, let me know. I would be excited to understand. So leave a comment down below if you're a demon player. All right, next to DC, and then Knights, and then we are done. All right, we're on the Emperor's Children. We got 3 new attachments, unsurprisingly, and somewhat unsurprisingly, a lot of their stuff is Purge the Foe, which I don't know. That seems really weird for EC because EC is technically an elite army and is mostly there to deal damage, but it's not durable unless you count specifically winged demon princes, kind of. They're also like ironically not good at primary. They don't have any units to hold primary. It's like putting 5 torment bringers, tormentors, the infiltrate sticky guys on a point and hoping that pays off. They don't have random durable vehicles. They don't have random durable like they technically have terminators, but that style of unit, like beefy infantry, you can stand on point. Their spawn technically exists, but kind of bad. They're just not very good at objective based stuff. They don't have the units to do actions. They literally just don't. One, everything's expensive, and two, they just don't have the unit choice. Like you have spawn, you have tormentors, about it. You don't have random Zangors like TSons do. You don't have, the world leaders aren't very good at actions too, but you don't even have the choice of CSM, which I don't think CSM's very good at actions. So like any of these action ones, like Recon specifically, which they unsurprisingly don't have a lot. They only have one, which is Mercurial Host. Recon specifically is pretty bad. Taking old is, I think, pretty bad for them. So it feels like this army can only do kind of maybe priority assets, try to do like a take it all's comer style of build, or I guess disruption does that too, just scores bad or purge the foe. And like I said, I think they're kind of not good because they're an army of like we're gonna send everything and kill you, and our detachment, which the one that's 3DP coterie conceded, is about killing, so it's kind of synergistic on the baseline surface. Um, but when you're sending your stuff out to kill me to get points, and you get points, and then I can easily kill you back, and then it's kind of not fitting. So like, I don't know. As I don't play EC at the moment. That's just my take from the EC layman. But I played against EC 1,000 times. I know how they play. I know what they do. So it feels really awkward that the forced deposition type thing, while being a one detachment army. Like technically people are kind of playing Carnival Excess now, which that leads you to be able to take a second attachment, which is nice. It also opens you up to more units. So I didn't even think about that. Carnival Excess actually lets you take cheaper demonettes and cheaper seeker units, so that's maybe an option. And keeper seekers aren't absolute dreadful. Same thing's Fulgrim, because both of them have innate -1 to hit, so both of them can be -2 to hit in cover. That is interesting. So I think Carnival actually has more interesting things, but at the same time, Carnival's whole niche is taking auto can defilers and spamming them, buffing them up to the 9s, and that was confirmed to be nerfed today. Either spam or the guns or both at the same time, so that might make this worse. But I do like the idea of potentially playing a priority assets Carnival with a good amount of demonettes and seekers and stuff. That could be cool. And Flawless Blades as a 3-man aren't actively expensive to at least stand on a point and countercharge people, only 100 points if they don't go up. So with that in mind, let's begin. First attachment is the Elegant Brutes. This is a Terminator attachment. And to reiterate, they have the weirdest Terminators in the game. They're CSM Terminators. They can only go in 5-mans. They don't get any special weapons. They just take the same bad CSM loadout of 3 Power Fist, 1 Lightning Claw or Light Power Sword, and 1 Chain Fist. Not good to begin with. Though they are the cheapest freaking Terminator in the game. I think they're like 27 points a model or something. It's ridiculous. Or 29. Either way, incredibly cheap. But Terminators, when they deep strike or were set up from a transport, like a Land Raider, get +1 charge. Not very good. We already saw this in Space Wolves, and it just said +1 charge always. So, and this is only one data sheet. So not good to start. All right, enhancements. Cacophonistic Acompion. Can't even say that. Lord Cacophonous only. He essentially be able to lead the Terminators correctly because he can, but he doesn't have Deep Strike. So it gives him Deep Strike, and he gets a Norse cover, which their guns are bolters, so that doesn't matter. Like the best point about this is Lord Cacophonous. I think he went up, but he's still relatively cheap. So you can, if this enhancement's like 10 points, like a pseudo loan up, not actually loan up, but just teleport somewhere in a corner on a 40 mil. Probably not good, but that's the only thing I think about it. Another one, Frenzy Ferocity. Average children, they have sus always. That is a very good enhancement or upgrade. Unless it upgrades 30 points for your 5 models, you're probably taking it multiple times. All right, Delight in Agony. Your opponent's shooting phase or 5 phase when they target an Emperor's Children, and they get the transhuman effect of strength greater than toughness equals -1 to wound. This is good. Nothing else to say there. It's a good strat. It's only on 1 data sheet, but it's it's the best style of data sheet to put it on. Either you want it on vehicles or durable infantry type stuff. Psychedelic Soul Flame. Your shooting phase or 5 phase when friendly Emperor's Children Terminator selected attack. That Emperor's Children unit, they get +2 strength. This is also good. It fixes their damage issue. It gets up to strength 10 and strength 7. so they can actually kill things. They probably have sustained hits. They have whatever butts you have from what other detachment you're playing, whether it be that also directly is cool is to directly combos with Carnival of Excess. Because Carnival of Excess is if either demonettes or demon units or Emperor's Children units are next to each other, they give the opposite unit sustained hits. And but if you already have sustained hits, you get some fives, which that's a literal direct combo. So this sounds really cool already with uh that Carnival Excess. It also gives you a unit people stay on objective. And like I said, Terminators are not that expensive. They're incredibly cheap. Let's pull up how expensive they are. Yeah, they're 145 per 5, so yeah, they're 29 points. So they're relatively cheap, 3 wound, 2 up, 4 up, T5 dude, stand on point, can be durable. That's really cool. I really like that. All right, Warp Plunge. Enter opponent's fight phase, select an unengaged Terminator unit and reserve it. This is good. Obviously the detachment ability is terrible unless you're playing Land Raiders, but that's fine. They do have real charges, kind of. I think that ability got buffed. We'll see at the end. But this is really cool. I think I would think about playing this. Do they have combos anywhere else? Mercurial Host just generically buffs melee. I think that gives you sustained or no, Mercurial, that's Peerless Bladesman. We played there, Rapid Evisceration. That's a direct combo because, like I said, that's the card attachment. So I kind of like that idea. So there's a lot of combos here. I like this attachment's quite interesting. Like the attachment itself is good, even though the unit's kind of I like it. All right, next is Frenzied Host. This is a host attachment, which means you can't take it with something. I don't know what Goonhammer said, but some detachment. Probably Mercurial Host, if I was a betting man. All right, so this is the battle line attachment. This one's also pretty cool. Friendly battle line units, when they advance or fall back, get +1 strength. And it's in both phases. I mean, yeah, both phases, so shooting and melee. So make sure one of the biggest issues with infractors is they just have chain swords. So it just relies on it's still precision and melee, as we talked about precision stonks there. As we talked about, one of the biggest issue is besides the Lord Exultant, the unit doesn't do any damage. It's just like 22 strength 4 -1 attacks with maybe rerolls. That's not great. Make him strength 5, it's quite huge. I can tell you, someone who's played a bunch of Red Corsairs, having those strength 5 chain swords actually makes a big difference. Same thing with the Tormentor squad. You get some strength 9 plasma guns. Your bolters become adequate. They also have bolt pistols, so they can shoot them at strength 5. Your plasma guns, your melting guns become more interesting, and your bolters become more interesting. And then same thing with the Lord Exalted himself. Getting the strength 8 Phoenix spear thing and the strength 5 whip, more importantly, is really cool. So that's a very nice attachability, and that's like already what EC is doing. Is just spamming like battle line. They take like 2 to 3 infractors and 1 to 2 tormentors already. That's already like 5 units. You're already taking most lists. That's really cool. All right, Euphoric Crown. Lord Exalted model only. His attacks have +1 strength. This is very okay. It gets your spear to strength 9, which is a decent breakpoint. Or if you're a psycho, take a power fizz, you get strength 10. That's a better breakpoint. Get your whip to up to strength 6. That's quite good. But that's like, kind of low for increased damage. So this one better be like 10 points at most. And next, Howling Plate, Lord Exalted model. The unit's range attacks have +1 AP. If you put a Lord Exalted in a 10-man tormentor like crazy person, it's pretty interesting. With +1 strength, +1 AP. Probably not taking this. I don't know. Possessive Mania. Shooting phase or 5 phase when an opponents, when they target a battle line unit that is on an objective, you get the AOC effect of -1 AP. AOC style effects are always good, even though it is a restricted one. We need to be on objective. That is less restrictive than it was 10th edition. Objectives are big and take up like 50% of the board instead of a very small amount of the board. So that is nice. And the objectives give you cover anyway, so you kind of want to be there. So that is good, if not a tad bit restricted. For Agonized Cacophony, started shooting phase, pick a battle line unit, select one visible enemy within 12. They have +6 action range. This is like almost useless in EC. You have one unit that even has guns, and that is an 18-inch noise marine. So this like almost does nothing, like of actual value. Yeah. Absolute Sensory Overload. Your shooting phase, when a friendly Emperor's Children battle line unit is selected to shoot, pick the battle line. You can stay hidden. Tormentors, they shoot a plasma gun and a bolter. They don't really have guns. So this is not very impactful. Okay, I like this kind of, but I really like the attachment ability, and one enhancement's okay. Yeah, this one's a lot less interesting than the Terminators, but it might also be more interesting. Oh, we gotta look at attachment abilities. Sorry, it's important. Terminators give you taken hold, which like that style with Carnival Excess might be able to do it, which is kind of interesting. And this one gives you disruption, which is not anything to come home about. Finally, a spectacle of slaughter. That it is a very similar spectacle spite. All right, it's the Flawless Blade detachment ability. And here's funny. Attachment ability says gain fight first. That would not be able to be written before, but it says Flawless Blade gain fight first. Fight first is mostly only usable if you have a lot of fight first. So if you're, if your opponent is charging into a bunch of Flawless Blades at once, it's kind of annoying, but it's not going to do a lot. All right, enhancement, eager patrons, Flawless Blade unit. This unit gets +2 movement. It's very good. They move 10. If you put them in a Land Raider, then that doesn't matter. So ignore that. I guess you could, disembark from the Land Raider and just move forward and advance. It probably makes you faster than Land Raider. So I don't know. Get +3 movement that way. And finally, the other upgrade is Beguiling Grotesquerie. It's not a real word, GW. It might be. Flawless Blade unit cannot target you with snap shooting. This is like 10 points. It's pretty impactful. These users are like 20 points. I'll probably not. Flawless Blades are not very durable. They're not like made of paper. They're not. They're only T5 with 3 up save. Never mind. They have an nibble save. They're kind of squishy. This is good help, especially if you're taking a 6-man. Honor is for fools, especially if you take this with Court of the Phoenician, because then you could put a Lord Exalted with them. Got fun, little fun upgrade there. All right, honor is for fools. 5 phases in Flawless Blade is to fight. They gain precision. Little restrictive. It's only in Flawless Blade, but that rule is good now. So cool, especially with like super high AP Flawless Blade style unit. Always wound on 3s. They'll definitely kill something. Single model strike. Charge phase Flawless unit may start to charge. Starts a charge move. Unit can move through models. It's only charge move, and excluding vehicles and monsters. And it's it's after you roll the dice. Okay, it's when you charge move, which is after you roll the dice. It's very restrictive and weird. Not that good. Okay, whatever. Intoxicated by Triumph. Your opponent's movement phase when an enemy unit was engaged with Flawless Blade decides to fall back, and it's a normal D3+3 active move. So this directly combos with that other attachment I'm talking about. Sorry, Rapid Evisceration, card attachment. That's about, usually the idea in a lot of ways is putting Flawless Blades in Land Raiders, or maybe Terminators Land Raiders now. But now you can do this, and if they, you charge someone, you pile into someone, you engage someone, you consolidate into someone, and if they're within average of 5, so average of 8 inches from a Land Raider, they can just walk back inside. That's really good. As someone who does that a lot with Custodies, very good. This one is fine. Doesn't have any crazy buffs. Like +2 movement is quite good. This one is really good. This is kind of shitty. And this is decent. I would rate these as, this is generic, like in a vacuum, the best, even though it's probably the worst, which is weird to say. It does the best buffs. It does the most interesting things, but technically it's the worst unit. And I think this detachment might be the worst, maybe, but it's probably the most useful because it's just, you can play this anywhere and you use these units anyways. And this is just fine. It's good. All right, there we go. Let's get to the fact. All right, boyos, let's do this. All right. So anything crazy? Carnival of Excess, change Emperor's Children. Yeah, just telling you new heroic. Nothing crazy there. AOC stuff, nothing crazy there. 8-inch rules, nothing crazy there. Telling you how duplicate heroics work and such. This one might got changed to be slightly better, but fundamentally the same. Rapid Evisceration. Ooh. I'm gonna check if any of these were changed real quick. Sad, they didn't give this a codifier. Since it's annoying for these style of rules. Because that means the issue, this is the thing that says if you're wholly within 6 of a transport, you can embark on it. But it doesn't say you can embark on it if you have already embarked this turn, disembarked this turn. So you're not allowed to use this strat and jump back into transport. So it's fairly useless. So keep that in mind if you have any rule with that Skyborn Sanctuary. I kind of laughed at East Eldar the other day. If I did, maybe I did it offline. That the Skyborn Sanctuary got another nerf because now even if you kill something in fight phase, if you were embarked at the beginning of the turn, you can't go back inside. This one doesn't let you either. This one is the same rule they buffed otherwise. But remember, Rapid Evisceration just gives you real 1-stun wound on your Land Raiders at all times. That's quite impactful. Lesser Chosen, whatever. Surge move stuff, same thing. No one's playing Celestia's Chosen. Gas Spawn, same thing to 8 inches. Oh, the cast Terminator ability got changed. It's shooting fast shoots this ability. Select when you hit by a range attack. Okay, so it's got a slight buff. It used to be if you shot every gun that you shot at one unit, you got reroll charges against it. It was terrible. Now it's if you shoot any amount of range attacks, you can get reroll charges and you must charge that unit. It's also a buff because you can still charge, reroll your charges, and make sure you just end within combat of that unit and charge a bunch of other stuff too. So that's good. Spirit Boss Blade, that got a buff later. It's funny this rule still exists considering it's almost useless or fundamentally useless now that he can just go through stuff now, which is stonks for the Fulgrim. Fulgrim, like I said, he can move through walls and stuff now, and he has -1 hit at all times. Very good. Helldrake became a real unit. Is Helldrake useful? I would like to check. Really funny as a pseudo counter fly unit, but it's funnily slow for EC. It still is T10. They nerfed the save for some reason because it has 2-up save and was T10 in the codex, which was like, oh my god, they wanted to make the Helldrakes better, and then they nerfed it to be 3-up save for some reason. It definitely looks like a unit that should have a 2-up save. But it's still T10, so it's higher toughness. But the ability is when you fly over something, you roll 2 dice for each 4-up. It does D3 mortals. If they're fly, it's +1 to it. So it's kind of cute, but nah, it's bad. None of these are different. None of these are different. Okay, so nothing else changed. There's EC. Their detachments were more exciting than I was expecting earlier, which is cool. It gave me a lot of ideas I would actually like to try, like especially Terminators or stuff with whatever that detachment's called. Rapid Evisceration. They have some goofy names, so that's cool. Maybe I'll like to try because I played a couple carnivore games with the filers. That was fun. So if the filers aren't hit too high, maybe I could try that again. Yeah, so EC they look pretty good, even though I think, like I said, they don't seem to do any disposition very well. It's also symptom of the army being kind of crap. But if I hope I'm wrong for that. All right, it's been long. Finally, we got the Chaos Knights, the army I care about the least. All right. Short story for you. Sorry, Chaos Knights player. I'm not trying to offend you, but Chaos Knights was one of my favorite armies in 9th edition. They were really cool. They were very flavorful. And you big knights, a hybrid version was usually one of the best versions, which was like 1 to 3 big knights and like 3 to 9 smalls, not the 2 skews we saw in 10th edition, which was all war dogs. And eventually it eventually came to like playing war dogs, and Abaddon was really good and probably the best style, but like the bigs mixed with smalls quite good, and I did like that. And that was also a symptom of me not despising vehicles, which was an evolution 10th edition, due to how vehicles were treated too well to say, and now they're able even more too well. But that was cool. I liked it. Had really cool army rules, a really cool army ability and stuff like that. In 10th edition, cut that all out, and in my opinion, made it the most boring army in 10th edition. It was my least favorite army in 10th edition throughout the whole edition. Like I said, there was 2 things. You played the index with 13 war dogs and ignored every rule. You ignored every strap but one. You did not have attach ability, and you just shot people with carnivores and brigands. And then the codex came out and said, don't do that anymore. And then you just played 3 big chain cannon guys. You played 1 detachment, which you also ignored most of the rules of your detachment. And the army has been absolutely just data sheet army this whole edition. And I feel sorry for the Chaos Knight armies because the army is so boring. But I have a very well painted Chaos Knight armies too. It's like black and purple. It's really cool. Like magenta purple. I really like it. But I dislike them. So like I said, not a big Chaos Knight player to say the least. I'm hoping these attachments are interesting and at least cool, so I can be a little excited. But let's talk about it. So the Chaos Knight stuff. Where is Chaos Knights on here? Gonna be down here. Here it is. Chaos Knights want to play 2 things, and it's very obvious when they want to play, like most Chaos build armies, is Purge the Foe and Take an Hold. Both of those play well, so we're going to want to see the ones that are both of those. So from the 1 DPs we see, I know cast Fiefdom, it gives you Take an Hold, which I'm pretty sure this is also the Cultist attachment, which you want to play anyways. So that's really good. Otherwise, Purge the Foe is Infernal Lance, which is a 3 DP and their best attachment at the point, so they're off to a good start to say the least. And the second best attachment, Traitorous Lance, is Purge the Foe for 2 DP. So you're in a good spot. You can either play Take and Hold, Traitorous Lance with Iconos, class Fiefdom, and or Purge the Foe, or you can play Purge the Foe, Infernal Lance, 2 DP. Hound Pack with Recon is hilarious. Unless you can take Hunting War Pack with Hound Pack and get some action stuff. These are both Recon. What the hell? They took both the War attachments and Recon. But let's talk about it before we talk about it. Disruption is stinky, and priority assets shouldn't. Definitely is not going to be great for them. All right. So Bastions of Tyranny. This is a Tyranto detachment. When he attacks a battle shocked unit +1 to, I thought we learned that it should be battle shocked or half strength at least. These type of rules are so restrictive. They don't even have that much ways to like try and do out of phase battle shock, which is weird for an army that's literally the battle shock army. To be able to do more than Tyranids. So that's weird. Off to a bad start. All right, enhancements. Terror Shades Rookery. Tyrant model only. When his units to select one enemy to 24, the unit has +6 detection rate. This is kind of important. Tyrants are very slow, especially the Castellan version with the Volcano Lance and the Plasma Gun. So making him shoot 18 or 21 hidden is much better than before. Especially Shadow Reserve is better for these type of units because a lot of objectives are touching the board edge. So if you screen out an objective and you can Shadow Reserve onto it and shoot through it, that's quite helpful. Next is Hate Field Dominion. Night Tyrant only. Reroll the rolls to determine the attack of weapon. That is good on both versions. Either you play the Valiant version. Its flamer is like 3d6 shots. You can reroll rolls. Yeah, you don't have to. I'm pretty sure that lets you reroll any individual dice. So you can see like you rolled a 6, a 1, and a 2, and reroll the 1 and 2. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure you can. And then they made the shot cannon thing, the harpoon D3 shots, so that helps there. And also same thing as the other one, where it's like D6 +6 shots with the plasma gun or something like that. Maybe it's D6 +3, and then or it's maybe it's 2d6, and then it's D3 shots of the volcano lance. Both those are quite impactful. You are taking this no matter what on one of those things. Cool. All right, Rune Curse Stronghold. The tyrant takes mortal wounds, 5 feel no pain. You know my opinion on this, unless you're taking. This is exclusively good in a current meta if you're playing as Librarius Conclave, because someone's going to shoot you with a string guard and do 20 mortals, and this will save a good amount of them. And since you are a model with a shit ton of wounds anyways, you're not going to get one shot most of the time. So there you go. Otherwise, it's not very good. Haterless Focus. Your move phase when Tyrant is selected to fall back, you can still shoot. This is very good. Tyrants hit on force. Have a movement of 8. They have a terrible melee profile. It's like 4 attacks hitting on force, so they can't get themselves out of combat. And both versions of the Knights have a blast gun, I'm pretty sure. So they can't even shoot their way out of combat most times. So this helps a lot. This is like, if anything, the only reason to play this attachment, even though I think both these enhancements are good. Finally, Intimidating Reminder. Your shooting phase of Night Tyrant has shot. Select a unit that was hit and it's suppressed and it's -1 to hit. This is not actually bad because Tyrants have little cannons on the top, like little shitty cannon. You can just shoot your little pew 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 gun at someone, hit them, and then give that unit -1 to hit, and that stacks with cover. So, and it's any unit. A lot of these say non-vehicle or non-titanic either. So if you're playing against, say a scary Land Raider variant with like las cannons or a repulsor, you can make it essentially hit on 5s. It's very good for the army. So this actually is very good buffs if you wanted to play a Night Tyrant. What's the disposition for it? Disruption? Don't care. That doesn't give you anything. So that's good. There you go. One thing I will say about Knights, if you're a Titanic Knight, you can shoot in action. So it does help with the action ones a little bit. Just a little bit. Hunting War Pack, which is unique to War Dogs. Okay, you cannot do hunting. Try and go for Recon Hunting War Pack with Houndback Lance. Sad there. All right, so this one is Scenting Fear. Once per battle per army. You can do this once in your turn. In your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit within 12 of a War Dog, and you get +6 texture range. Like, this helps the Knights. You get, like I said, the Titanic Knights. You could do Q. If you were a crazy man and took all 3 1DPs, you could combine Terror Shade Rookery with this and get +12 to texture range and actually kill things and just ignore hidden. That's kind of funny. That's all it does. Not a lot otherwise. All right, enhancement Soul Spewer Askator. My lord. Huntsman only unit has +6 range. Huntsman is bad. I'm pretty sure the Huntsman is the Armiger Warglaive variant, so it doesn't be able to take any of the guns. It can't take the better melee weapon. So not great. Snarling Rivalry. Also, Chaos Knights are getting a fairly sizable nerf. There's a lot of Chaos Knights gameplay, if you're running any amount of War Dogs, is just trying to pew 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 anti-LS small things. And most of the time, those things are gonna hit on sixes now. Because if you move and shoot, you hit on sixes. If you can't see, you hit on sixes. If you're in combat, you hit on sixes. And you never stay still with your war dog. So most of the times, those little top rockets aren't gonna kill much of anything. Starling Rivalry. Executioner only. This unit has ignores cover. It's really good. Executioner's not even bad. He gets like +1 wound against weakened stuff or something. It's one of those. But he's got the auto cannons, which are way better this edition because AP1 913. And then now he ignores cover. You can take it 3 times. This is really good. Insanate. What the heck? Bloodthirst. If 5 phase enemy targets a war dog, that war dog unit has 5 feel no pain and make you asleep forever. That's a really good strat. Nothing to say about that. 5 feel no pain for a unit with like 14 wounds at T9. Pretty good. And with an nimble save, sometimes. Lash of the Master. Shooting phase when friendly war dog is shot. That it can eligible to start an action. So you can, move your 12 to 14 inches, action and shoot. That's very impactful, especially if you're crazy and trying to play recon with this army. That helps a lot. Stalking Focus. Your opponent's shooting phase when enemy targets a war dog on objective. Hey, we just saw this. You get AOC. This is really good. Every shot here is really good. Detachment ability is cute and has a good enhancement. So this is a very nice, if you're trying to play maybe something like Traitorous Lance, you're trying to play like, more of like a 7 war dog list with a couple bigs, something like that. I do like this attachment. That's all I say. Iconus Feastum. This is the good one, the one everyone's going to want to play. You can include 500 points of damned units and damn units, reroll leadership rolls. That's it. Very simple. So you can take Curse Cultist. You can take Traitor Guard, which just got a buff. And they're not that expensive. They're like 70 points. Traitor Guard get +1 save on objectives. So they have 4 armor save on objectives. So they have a 2 higher armor save compared to Cultists. And they have better shooting. So that's nice. And you can more importantly take Cultists, a 50-point unit that can screen and gives you sticky. And you can take 6 of them if you wanted to. It's not that expensive. Take 6 squads of Cultists. That's really good. And like I said, it gives you take and hold if you want it, which is a very good, I would assume very good night deposition. All right. Enhancement, Cruel Taskmaster. It gives him an aura, so Chaos Knight only. But a friendly damned is within 6 of this model when they make essentially any move besides a charge move +2 to movement. That is amazing. Especially if you include a Cursed Cultist, then they can, with their advanced charge turn, go 8 and advanced charge. It's really nice. Or just getting Traitor Guardsman. And this also means you can take the very wanted Traitor Enforcer. People love him in CSM. I like, kind of one, but that unit is better in Knights than it is in CSM because it fills an actual niche. It's a 2 model T6 unit that one unit has a feel no pain. Both of them combined have okay melee. That's really cool. Yeah, but this aura is really good. Just don't make sure that guy doesn't die. Otherwise, Iconoclast Aura Idol. It's a Knight model, gives him a 6-inch aura, while friendly damned units within. You can heroic for -1 CP. Would not take this. This is awful, unless it's like 10 points and you have nothing to spend it on. You have points to spend it on, upgrade a cultist into a Traitor Guard. All right, Avenge the Masters. Any phase when a Knight cultist is destroyed, or a Chaos Knight is destroyed, that unit becomes marked, and for the rest of the game, damned units get lethal against the marked. This is fine. If you're taking units that actually have any amount of damage, like Traitor Guard, like cultists that don't have anything, they have 10 bolt pistols, auto pistols that have 12 range, so they will never hit anything. Traitor Guards at least can take like a plasma gun, like a melta gun, and some blast guns that have longer range. And obviously, Cursed Cultists would like the lethals, so it depends. This is fine. Dark Sacrifice. Your friend, the command phase, pick a damned unit within 9 of a Chaos Knight, including Cursed Cultists, and you roll 3d3 and you heal that amount of wounds. That is a lot of wounds. It's an average of 5, and you eat 5 cultists for 25 points. Really good. I would sacrifice 25 points of cultists to heal 5 wounds on a giant knight, like any day of the week. And you can also do it to get yourself out of battle shock and stuff like that. Really good strat. Especially since, like, you can easily run like 2 Traitor Guards, 2 cultists, 2 Traitor Enforcers and not feel bad. You can also use it on the Traitor Enforcer and absorb against the 4 feel no pain. Obviously, he only has 3 wounds, but that's kind of cute. Coursing the Thralls. Start of your shooting phase. It's like the damn unit. So one of the unit, that unit is hunted. While unit is hunted as, all right, so it's another one. Pick someone with a 12. You get +6 dex range. Is this every single detachment? That's funny. That's in every single night detachment. I've never seen that before. But this is, I think I said, of any army that's impactful, it's a slow vehicle based shooting army is where these type of rules are most impactful. Obviously, playing Infernal Last, I wouldn't call Knights slow, but Knights are an army that moves 10 or 12 and don't really have advance to do anything except a very, very niche amount of times. So it's a very pre-measurable army. This does stuff that helps. So these attachments, all of them are good, I think. This one I think is great, and you're gonna Chaos Knight players are always gonna want to run it. I think this detachment self solves the ability to not. It's not gonna make a tyrant amazing, but if you're running a tyrant, this like super buffs it up to make it where it's not. You're not kind of just trolling. And this is just a generically efficiently good detachment. So Knights player, Chaos Knight players, you're doing good here. All right, Chaos Knights got the same army-wide nerf that every single -1 hit army did, and their -1 hits became stealth. The Chaos Knights one is even worse because it has restrictions. So it's nerfed it up. Not really. The ability never came out, so you can't really say it's a nerf. It essentially is as it is before. All right, Houndback Lance, anything else? I don't really see anything changed there. Change normal rules there. This seems about the same. Same AOC thing. Or the Dark God. This is weird. I just checked. So both Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights have a sticky 5 stratagem, but the Chaos Knights one start of your command phase, and the Imperial Knights one is end of your command phase. So I think the Chaos Knights one is better because you can use it before you get battle shocked. It's weird. I don't know why they have different timings and they're sent to the same strat. All right, so they got the same Vect and nerf, so not, and it's pretty normal. See, okay. What the heck? Why is this 9? They didn't change this one. What the hell? All right. So, yes, Night Bombardment got a technical buff. Kind of funny. There you go. I don't want to talk about Chaos Knights because I don't play this army and I don't really like it. But I will talk about it. Talk about the Chaos stuff. There we go. That is the 3rd video of 4. So that is quite exciting. This one was really cool. You know, there was some ups and downs that we saw, especially with CSM, but I'm quite positive on everything here, except the evil TSons and their awful detachment. That makes me sad. So tomorrow is, I guess I'm releasing this tomorrow. And Future Man, I'm Future Man right now, or Past Man. But maybe I'll release both videos the same day. But the next one is about the Imperium, which for me specifically doesn't have a lot. It will just have Custodies, which I'm very excited for. Hopefully, with fingers crossed, especially combined with points. Hopefully, points are on Friday, if not early next week. But I got Custodies. That's really it, because I don't like Guard. I don't really care about Sisters, Imperial Knights. What else? I don't know what else is Imperial Army. That's about it I can think of. I guess Agents might get one, even though they don't have any detachments. Poor Agents. The Agents will be there. We'll see their DPs and see that everything costs 3 probably. But yeah, that's what I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed. I hope this was informative. We learned some new things today. Like I said, if you have if you found anything else that was changed in Demons, let me know in the comments. I would be interested to hear about it. I would like to see that. Other than that, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It means a lot. You know, trying to get to 10,000 subs. It would mean the world to me if you could help me get there. Really mean it. Thank you, everyone, though, who's supported me this far. Other than that, if you need any coaching, go to the Discord and in the description. It is it's getting busy. It's busy season right now. We're getting pretty much everything you need to get right on grooving for 11th edition, especially people who are having events pretty much day of or right after the event comes edition comes out. So be prepared for that. Get ready. That's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching, and you all have a great day. All right, short story for you. Sorry, Chaos Knights player, I'm trying to offend you, but Chaos Knights was one of my favorite armies in 9th edition. They were really cool. They were very flavorful. And you big knights, a hybrid version was usually one of the best versions, which was like 1 to 3 big knights and like, you know, 3 to 9 smalls, not the 2 skews we saw in 10th edition, which was all war dogs. And eventually it eventually came to like playing war dogs, and Abaddon was really, really good and probably the best style, but like the bigs mixed with small was quite good. And I did like that. And that was also a symptom of me not despising vehicles, which was an evolution 10th edition, due to how vehicles were treated too well, to say. And now they're able even more too well. But that was cool. I liked it. Had really cool army rules, a really cool army ability and stuff like that. In 10th edition, cut that all out, and in my opinion, made it the most boring army in 10th edition. It was my least favorite army in 10th edition throughout the whole edition. Like I said, there was two things. You played the index with 13 war dogs and ignored every rule. You ignored every strap but one. You did not have attach ability, and you just shot people with carnivores and brigands. And then the codex came out and said, don't do that anymore. And then you just played three big chain cannon guys. You played one detachment, which you also ignored most of the rules of your detachment. And the army has been absolutely just data sheet army this whole edition. And I feel sorry for the Chaos Knight armies because the army is so boring. But you know, I have a very well painted Chaos Knight armies too. It's like black and purple. It's really cool. Like magenta purple. I really like it. But I just like them. So like I said, not a big Chaos Knight player to say the least. I'm hoping these attachments are interesting and at least cool, so I can be a little excited. But let's talk about it. So the Chaos Knight stuff. Where is Chaos Knights on here? Gonna be down here. Here it is. Chaos Knights want to play two things, and it's very obvious when they want to play. Like most Chaos build armies, is Purge the Foe and Take an Old. Both of those play well, so we're gonna want to see the ones that are both of those. So from the one DPs we see, I know cast Fiefdom. It gives you Take an Old, which I'm pretty sure this is also the chaos, the cultist attachment, which you want to play anyways. So that's really good. Otherwise, Purge the Foe is Infernal Lance, which is a 3 DP and their best attachment at the point. So they're off to a good start, to say the least. And the second best attachment, Traitorous Lance, is Purge the Foe for 2 DP. So you're in a good spot. You can either play Take and Hold Traitorous Lance with Iconos class Fiefdom and or Purge the Foe, or you can play Purge the Foe Infernal Lance. 2 DP. Hound Pack with Recon is hilarious. Unless you can take Hunting War Pack with Hound Pack and get some action stuff. These are both Recon. What the hell? They took both the War Pack attachments of Recon. But let's talk about it before we talk about it. Disruption is stinky, and priority assets definitely is not going to be great for them. All right. So Bastions of Tyranny. This is a Tyranto detachment. When he attacks a battle shocked unit +1 to, I thought we learned that it should be battle shocked or half strength at least. These type of rules are so restrictive. They don't even have that much ways to like try and do out of phase battle shock, which is weird for an army that's literally the battle shock army. To be able to do more than Tyranids. So that's weird. Off to a bad start. All right, enhancements. Terror Shades Drukhari. Tyrant model only. When his units select shoot, select one enemy to 24. The unit has +6 detection rate. This is kind of important. Tyrants are very slow, especially the Castellan version with the Volcano Lance and the Plasma Gun. So making him shoot 18 or 21 hidden is much better than before. Especially Strat Reserve is better for these type of units because a lot of objectives are touching the board edge. So if you screen out an objective and you can Strat Reserve onto it and shoot through it, that's kind of helpful. Next is Hate Field Dominion. Night Tyrant only. Reroll the rolls to determine the attack of weapon. That is good on both versions. Either you play the Valiant version. Its flamer is like 3d6 shots. You can reroll rolls. Yeah, you don't have to. I'm pretty sure that lets you reroll any individual dice. So you can see like you rolled a 6, a 1, and a 2, and reroll the 1 and 2. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure you can. And then they made the shot cannon thing, the harpoon D3 shots, so that helps there. And also same thing as the other one, where it's like D6 +6 shots with the plasma gun or something like that. Maybe it's D6 +3. And then, or it's maybe it's 2d6, and then it's D3 shots of the Volcano Lance. Both those are quite impactful. You are taking this no matter what on one of those things. Cool. All right. Rune Curse Stronghold. The Tyrant takes mortal wounds, 5 feel no pain. You know my opinion on this, unless you're taking. This is exclusively good in a current meta if you're playing as Librarius Conclave, because someone's going to shoot you with a String Guard and do 20 mortals, and this will save a good amount of them. And since you are a model with a shit ton of wounds anyways, you're not going to get one shot most of the time. So there you go. Otherwise, it's not very good. Haterless Focus. Your move phase when Tyrant is selected to fall back, you can still shoot. This is very good. Tyrants hit on 4s. Have a movement of 8. They have a terrible melee profile. It's like 4 attacks hitting on 4, so they can't get themselves out of combat. And both versions of the Knights have a blast gun, I'm pretty sure. So they can't even shoot their way out of combat most times. So this helps a lot. This is like, if anything, the only reason to play this attachment, even though I think both these enhancements are good. Finally, Intimidating Reminder. Your shooting phase of Night Tyrant has shot. Select a unit that was hit and it's suppressed and it's -1 to hit. This is not actually bad because tyrants have little cannons on the top, like little shitty cannon. You can just shoot your little pew 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 gun at someone, hit them, and then give that unit -1 hit, and that stacks with cover. So and it's any units. A lot of these say non-vehicle or non-titanic either. So if you're playing against, say a scary land raider variant with like las cannons or a repulsor, you can make it essentially hit on 5s. It's very good for the army. So this actually is very good buffs if you wanted to play a Knight Tyrant. What's the disposition for it? Disruption, don't care. That doesn't give you anything. So that's good. There you go. One thing I will say about Knights, if you're a Titanic Knight, you can shoot in action. So it does help with the action ones a little bit. Just a little bit. Hunting Warpack, which is unique to War Dogs. Okay, you cannot do hunting. Try and go for recon hunting Warpack with Houndback Lance. Sad there. All right, so this one is Scenting Fear. Once per battle per army. You can do this once in your turn. In your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit within 12 of a War Dog, and you get +6 texture range. Like, this helps the Knights. You get, like I said, the Titanic Knights. You could do Q. If you were a crazy man and took all 3 1DPs, you could combine Terror Shade Drukhari with this and get +12 to texture range and actually kill things and just ignore hidden. That's kind of funny. That's all it does. Not a lot otherwise. All right, enhancement Soul Spewer Askator. My lord. Huntsman only unit has +6 range. Huntsman is bad. I'm pretty sure the Huntsman is the Armiger Warglaive variant, so it doesn't be able to take any of the guns. It can't take the better melee weapon. So not great. Snarling Rivalry. Also, Chaos Knights are getting a fairly sizable nerf. There's a lot of Chaos Knights gameplay, if you're running any amount of War Dogs, is just trying to pew 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 anti-LS small things. And most of the time, those things are going to hit on 6s now. Because, if you move and shoot, you hit on 6s. If you can't see, you hit on 6s. If you're in combat, you hit on 6s. And you never stay still with your War Dog. So most of the times, those little pop rockets aren't going to kill much of anything. Snarling Rivalry. Executioner only. This unit has ignores cover. It's really good. Executioner's not even bad. He gets like +1 wound against weakened stuff or something. It's one of those. But he's got the autocannons, which are way better this edition because AP1 913. And then now he ignores cover. You can take it 3 times. This is really good. Insane. What the heck? Bloodthirst. If 5 phase enemy targets a War Dog, that War Dog unit has a 5 feel no pain and make you go sleep forever. That's a really good strat. Nothing to say about that. 5 feel no pain for a unit with like 14 wounds at T9. Pretty good. And with an nimble save, sometimes. Lash of the Master. Shooting phase when friendly War Dog is shot, that it can eligible to start an action. So you can, move your 12 to 14 inches, action and shoot. That's very impactful, especially if you're crazy and trying to play recon with this army. That helps a lot. Stalking Focus. Your opponent's shooting phase when enemy targets a War Dog on objective. Hey, we just saw this. You get AOC. This is really good. Every shot here is really good. Detachment ability is cute and has a good enhancement. So this is a very nice, if you're trying to play maybe something like Traitorous Lance, you're trying to play like, more of like a 7 War Dog list with just a couple bigs, something like that. I do like this attachment. That's all I say. Iconus Feastum. This is the good one, the one everyone's going to want to play. You can include 500 points of damned units and damned units reroll leadership rolls. That's it. Very simple. So you can take Curse Cultist. You can take Traitor Guard, which just got a buff. And they're not that expensive. They're like 70 points. Traitor Guard get +1 save on objectives. So they have 4 armor save on objectives. So they have a two higher armor save compared to Cultists. And they have better shooting. So that's nice. And you can more importantly take Cultists, a 50-point unit that can screen and gives you sticky. And you can take 6 of them if you wanted to. It's not that expensive. Take 6 squads of Cultists. That's really good. And like I said, it gives you take and hold if you want it, which is a very good, I would assume very good Knight deposition. All right. Enhancement, Cruel Taskmaster. It gives him an aura, so Chaos Knight only. While friendly damned is within 6 of this model, when they make essentially any move besides a charge move, +2 to movement. That is amazing. Especially if you include a Cursed Cultist, then they can, with their advanced charge turn, go 8 and advanced charge. It's really nice. Or just getting Traitor Guardsman. And this also means you can take the very wanted Traitor Enforcer. People love him in CSM. I like, kind of one, but that unit is better in Knights than it is in CSM because it fills an actual niche. it's a 2 model T6 unit that one unit has a feel no pain. Both of them combined have okay melee. That's really cool. Yeah, but this aura is really good. Just don't make sure that guy doesn't die. Otherwise, Iconoclast Aura Idol. It's a knight model, gives him a 6-inch aura. While friendly damned units within, you can heroic for -1 CP. Would not take this. This is awful unless it's like 10 points and you have nothing to spend it on. You have points to spend it on, upgrade a cultist into a trader guard. All right, Avenge the Masters. Any phase when a Knight Cultist is destroyed, or a Chaos Knight is destroyed, that unit becomes marked, and for the rest of the game, damned units get lethal against the marked. This is fine. If you're taking units that actually have any amount of damage, like Trader Guard, like Cultists that don't have anything, they have 10 bolt pistols, auto pistols that have 12 inch range, they will never hit anything. Trader Guards at least can take like a plasma gun, like a melta gun, and some blast guns that have longer range. And all these cursed cultists would like the lethals, so it depends. This is fine. Dark Sacrifice. Your friend the command phase, pick a damned unit within 9 of a Chaos Knight, including cursed cultists, and you roll 2d 3d3 and you heal that amount of wounds. That is a lot of wounds. It's an average of 5, and you eat 5 cultists for 25 points. Really good. I would sacrifice 25 points of cultists to heal 5 wounds on a giant knight, like any day of the week. And you can also do it to get yourself out of battle shock and stuff like that. Really good strat. Especially since, like, you can easily run like 2 trader guards, 2 cultists, 2 trader enforcers and not feel bad. You can also use it on the trader enforcer and absorb against the 4 feel no pain. Obviously, only has 3 wounds, but that's kind of cute. Coursing the Thralls. Start of your shooting phase. It's like the damn unit. So one of the unit, that unit is hunted. While unit is hunted as, all right, so it's another one. Pick someone with a 12, you get +6 dex range. Is this every single detachment? That's funny. That's in every single knight detachment. I've never seen that before. But this is, I think I said, of any army that's impactful, it's a slow vehicle-based shooting army is where these type of rules are most impactful. Obviously, you play Infernal Last, I wouldn't call Knights slow, but Knights are an army that moves 10 or 12 and don't really have advance to do anything except a very, very niche amount of times. So it's a very pre-measurable army. This does stuff that helps. So these attachments, all of them are good, I think. This one I think is great, and you're gonna Chaos Knight players are always gonna want to run it. I think this detachment self solves the ability to it's not going to make a tyrant amazing, but if you're running a tyrant, this like super buffs it up to make it where you're not kind of just trolling. And this is just a generically efficiently good detachment. So Chaos Knight players, you're doing good here. All right, Chaos Knights got the same army-wide nerf that every single -1 hit army did, and their -1 hits became stealth. The Chaos Knights one's even worse because it has restrictions. So it's nerfed it up. Not really. The ability never came out, so you can't really say it's a nerf. It essentially is as it is before. All right, Houndback Lance. Anything else? I don't really see anything change there. Change normal rules there. This seems about the same. Same AOC thing. Or the Dark God. This is weird. I just checked. So both Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights have a sticky 5 stratagem, but the Chaos Knights one start of your command phase, and the Imperial Knights one is end of your command phase. So I think the Chaos Knights one is better because you can use it before you get battle shocked. It's weird. I don't know why they have different timings and they're sent to the same strat. All right, so they got the same Vectin nerf, so and it's pretty normal. So okay. What the heck? Why is this 9? They didn't change this one. What the hell? All right. So Knight Bombardment got a technical buff. Kind of funny. There you go. I don't want to talk about Chaos Knights because I don't play this army and I don't really like it. But I will talk about it. Talk about the Chaos stuff. There we go. That is the 3rd video of 4. So that is quite exciting. This one was really cool. There was some ups and downs that we saw, especially with CSM, but I'm quite positive on everything here, except the evil TSons and their awful detachment. That makes me sad. So tomorrow is, I guess I'm releasing this tomorrow. And Future Man, I'm Future Man right now, or Past Man. But maybe I'll release both videos the same day. But the next one is about the Imperium, which for me specifically doesn't have a lot. It will just have Custodies, which I'm very excited for. Hopefully, with fingers crossed, especially combined with points. Hopefully, points are on Friday, if not early next week. But I got Custodies. That's really it, because I don't like guard. I don't really care about sisters, Imperial Knights. What else? I don't know what else is Imperial Army. That's about it I can think of. I guess agents might get one, even though they don't have any detachments. Poor agents. The agents will be there. We'll see their DPs and see that everything costs 3 probably. Um, but yeah, that's what I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope this was informative. We learned some new things today. Like I said, if you have if you found anything else that was changed in Demons, let me know in the comments. I would be interested to hear about it. I would like to see that. Other than that, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It means a lot. You know, trying to get to 10,000 subs. It would mean the world to me if you could help me get there. Really mean it. Thank you, everyone, though, who's supported me this far. Other than that, if you need any coaching, go to the Discord and in the description. It is it's getting busy. It's busy season right now. We're getting pretty much everything you need to get right on grouping for 11th edition, especially people who are having events pretty much day of or right after the event comes edition comes out. So be prepared for that. Get ready. That's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching, and you all have a great day.